which helps. The Ganges is especially notorious for having some extraordinary levels of pathogens.
Oh yes, that's a very bad place, that river there.
And one thing that's very interesting about this is there's a book called Hitler's Table Talk. Which was I think it was a butler or a maid
Hitler's
or something.
Hitler's
Table Talk.
Okay.
It was one of the house servants that just sort of wrote down the pieces of conversation that they could remember from when Hitler was just sitting at the table talking, not making a speech, not really
just chatting with his buddies.
Exactly.
His little Nazi friends, his favorite Nazis.
Exactly. When you let your hair down and just relax and talk about the Jews. Oh
God.
And the interesting thing about what's in that book is that it's not anger. He doesn't have anger. He doesn't really even have hatred for these people, which is what you'd expect. What he has is disgust.
Yeah, sure.
And I mean, you do also see this in his speeches a lot, but to find out it's in his personal explanation of what's going on is that these are a parasite on the body. So, I mean, you're not going to get more authoritarian,
than
as
the
a
Nazis.
cliche, than the Nazis.
Yeah.
So, it's this disease sensitivity that makes you want to close down your borders, lock in everything, put everything in nice, neat little boxes, and not let anything mix.
And it seems like there's, it seems like it's certainly something that we could look at today with the pathogen that's going around that everybody knows about, COVID.
Right.
I showed you some of the numbers today of deaths in America, and there were 5 weeks where deaths sort of reached a remarkable level. Mm-hmm. And those 5 weeks are gone, and now we seem to be stuck with some behavior that may very well prevent the spread of disease. Sounds good. Other behaviors that seem to be sort of just because of things. I was just listening to somebody talk yesterday, and they're like, more and more kids are getting this. It's not the young people aren't safe anymore. And I'm like, when you say more and more, what numbers are you talking about here? Because the numbers that I'm seeing show that, by and large, you're still talking about, amongst cases, you're talking about old people. Yeah, Florida, surprise, America's nursing home, I'm from there, is getting hit pretty hard.
Yeah, and New York, where COVID patients were sent into nursing homes, and the nursing homes given legal immunities for allowing that to happen.
Sure, yeah. That doesn't seem like a good policy. 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE, as in freedom. Call in, share your thoughts, 855-450-FREE.
Ancestry, the global leader in family history and consumer genomics, released results of a survey commissioned to understand how consumers viewed their health risks during the COVID-19 pandemic. According to results, almost half of all Americans and nearly 50% of parents said the COVID-19 pandemic has increased their interest in understanding their possible genetic health risks. Dr. Ron Park, Executive Vice President of Health and DNA at Ancestry.
The COVID-19 pandemic has made clear to many people the importance of taking proactive actions to protect their health and their family's health. The survey shows that this applies to not only concerns specific to COVID-19, but also other health issues such as genetic risks.
Ancestry Health, launched last year to increase access to personalized preventive health care, will soon be powered by next-generation sequencing, an advanced technology that provides a comprehensive analysis of inherited health risks. Visit Ancestry.com/health.
News from Bitcoin.com. Twitter hacked, Bitcoin blamed. NASCAR driver Bubba Wallace will soon have a Bitcoin logo on his car. Banks will make $18 billion in fees on COVID-19 relief funds. Bitcoin Cash still lets you control your own money. PayPal confirms it's developing cryptocurrency capabilities while still shutting down accounts of crypto users. Bitcoin.com is your source for getting started with cryptocurrencies, getting a wallet, buying Bitcoin Cash, mining, and all the latest cryptocurrency news at news.bitcoin.com. Subscribe to their channel on YouTube.
Do you want more businesses accepting Bitcoin Cash and Dash? Now with AnyPay, you earn passive income for every purchase at those businesses. Finally, a financial incentive to spread Bitcoin Cash and Dash. You made it happen, so you get the rewards. Download the AnyPay Cash Register app and add your cryptocurrency wallet addresses. Then install it at a real-life business and tell us what you did at anypayinc.com. anypayinc.com.
the Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com. Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
Do you want more businesses accepting Bitcoin Cash and Dash? Now with AnyPay, you earn passive income for every purchase at those businesses. Finally, a financial incentive to spread Bitcoin Cash and Dash. You made it happen, so you get the rewards. Download the AnyPay Cash Register app and add your cryptocurrency wallet addresses. Then install it at a real-life business and tell us what you did at anypayinc.com. anypayinc.com.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
Free Talk Live. Call in, share your thoughts on the relationship between authoritarian governments and pathogens, or anything else that's on your mind. It's Mark with you.
Peakless Mountaineer.
And Melanie.
The number, 855-450-3733. That's 855-450-FREE. And I am going to Texas, Dallas to be specific. It's August the 6th through the 8th for Mobilize 2020. This is a Young Americans for Liberty event, and it's going to be the biggest liberty-oriented networking event this year. It's invitation only, but getting your invitation is easy. So go to yaliberty.org/mobilize and register. Mobilize 2020 in Dallas, August the 6th through the 8th, yaliberty.org/mobilize. Let's go to Jacob calling in from Canada. Jacob, you're on Free Talk Live. What's on your mind?
Yes, hello there. Well, first, I'm surprised that I got on. When I first heard your show, I was rather curious and interested. So I just want to touch briefly on two topics. One is a report I kept hearing that because federal buildings are under attack in various states, and therefore the police are not doing anything, so the president has to send in his troops. I was wondering, well, what if they attack, and they are, of course, they attack state and municipal buildings, and the police are not doing their job? Should the president just sit there and say, no, it's not my concern? That doesn't make any sense. Any property, even a private home, and the police are not doing their job, the president has to get up and act, because that's one of his duties, isn't it?
Well, no, the president is not like a general law enforcer. Like the president isn't like the sheriff of the U.S. Federal buildings would arguably come under his jurisdiction. It's not his job. It's not even under statism his job to go and see what's going on in all 50 states and make sure everything's being prosecuted properly. That's not really his function.
And one thing
that
is,
doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense, because if you don't do that, then basically you're leaving it to the average American and his firepower to take care of his property, and the city has to take care of its property and the state its property. But if the police, again, are not doing their job, right? They're sitting back, they're being defunded, whatever the case is, orders from the governor, the mayor, whatever, and people are losing their homes, and there's property being damaged, and people are being assaulted. I mean, the president really has to do something. His bottom line.
Well, so the president, there's like this perception that the president is the leader of the country, and that's really not the case. There's the president, there's Congress, and there's the Supreme Court, and they're supposed to be, equal and
co-equal.
And not particularly powerful.
Yeah, and each have separate functions.
Yeah, the federal government should be largely outward facing. Jacob, I get where you're coming from, and I think that this question to some extent is going to be asked and answered in this election coming up, which is, like Americans, if you feel like your state or municipality or whatever isn't doing its job and the president steps in, does that make you happy or sad? And remember, elections aren't held and voted upon by constitutional scholars. They're held and voted upon by the average person. And the average person's like, well, maybe they're happy, maybe they're sad. I don't really know. But honestly, yes. I mean, you on a local level, you're supposed to be voting for people that are going to protect your property that way.
If all of the governors and mayors are doing basically the same thing about the same, in reaction to the same thing, they're probably getting phone calls from on high, because California, Texas, New York, everywhere, they don't all agree, except when they all do mysteriously, and it's because they got a phone call.
I know, but the thing is, though, before you can be happy or sad, like you just mentioned previously, you have to be alive and safe so that you can be happy and sad. So that's why
that's why we have guns, Jacob.
Yeah,
I mean,
you're allowed to have guns here.
You said that right. People protecting their own property, you say that like it's a terrible situation, and that actually strikes me as a great situation. I'll protect my property, the city will protect its. That's what happened in Manchester with the protest we had here.
Yeah. Listen, can I just touch on one more topic?
Go right ahead.
Okay. This mail-in business, this mail-in ballot, I mean, I was just flabbergasted. I mean, here in Canada, I've never heard of such a thing, but it just reminds me of what goes on in third world countries. Not that they have mail-in ballots, but all kinds of corruption. I mean, think about it, right? You're not likely to make a mail-in ballot as difficult to counterfeit as cash, right? So the first thing that is probably going to happen is all kinds of counterfeit ballots are going to be produced, right?
I imagine somebody's working on it right now.
Yeah, right. So, I mean, people who are even dead are going to be registered as voters.
Well, people who are dead vote already in some jurisdictions, but the problem is, like, if somebody from Massachusetts is going to fraudulently vote in New Hampshire, they at least have to drive to New Hampshire, and that's somewhat of a barrier to entry. But with mail-in, you don't even have to do that. You could not even be there and vote in whatever jurisdiction you want.
And not just like you were saying, the addition of false ballots, but it's very easy to just lose the right ballots and shift everything that way.
Also, one important part is that a mail-in ballot allows people in your home, at the very least, to see for whom you're voting,
or to steal your ballot and
they could do that too. Yeah. But let me tell you the story real quick. My wife and I generally choose to vote together, sort of as a unit, as opposed to, and that requires a certain level of compromise. I don't see any particular problem with that as compromises. It's what we choose to do. But we had, at one point, we did have absentee ballots that we did, and we sat right next to each other and we filled them out together. Now, this is a theory I have. And it's not like I'm hoping one way or the other, but I think there's a lot of people in America, and I'd say they're men. A lot of men in America that said, honey, I would never vote for that orange blowhard. I'd never do it. And then they walked into the voting booth and they did it because, for whatever reason, Trump appealed to them. And then, they live their life as though they, whatever, because this made their lives better.
I know,
easier.
but that's the point. But that's the point. The point is, at least here in Canada, anyway, the ballot is called a secret ballot. In other words, you can be influenced. You can be influenced up until the time you go to vote. When you go behind the scrutineers, right, into a little booth, and you put your X or whatever, that's your business. You are not influenced by anybody at that point. You make up your mind. But if you do a mail-in ballot, you can do what you just described, all kinds of other corruption.
And that's how it's supposed to be here, up to the point where most states have laws against you deciding to show your ballot to somebody else. So, like, ballot selfies are illegal in most states here.
People
of course,
do it.
But let's not forget one more thing. Okay, when you present yourself in person, and you could do this, by the way, in the States, even with the current COVID situation, you got all kinds of measures in place. You only let in one person at a time or whatever. You keep your social distance. It can be done safely above board. But here's the point. The point is that when you present yourself to the scrutineer, you have to show your face. You have to show your ID. You have to be on the list. You have to be 100% above board. When you do a mail-in, as I said just earlier, a dead person can be registered and you wouldn't know it.
And you can vote in multiple, and like even if you're fraudulently hitting, like you can hit up multiple jurisdictions in theory, but there's a limit to how many polling booths you can physically drive to in a day. You don't have that limit.
That would require
mail-in.
a great deal of fraud, too. Thank you for the call, Jacob. Appreciate it. The number, 855-450-3733. Do you support these mail-in ballots that... And why do you? I mean, is it just partisanship? Is that what we're dealing with again? 855-450-FREE here on Free Talk Live.
Got shaving irritation? Shave Secret shaving oil can help stop it. Shave Secret doesn't cost much and is an all-American product. My name is Chuck Howard, and I developed Shave Secret and pioneered its use starting back in 1991. Ingrown hairs drove me nuts for years. Shaving oil changed all that. Why put up with ingrown hair, bumps, red rash, nicks, and cuts? Shave Secret provides men and women with what we believe is the best shave ever. Our proprietary blend of 100% natural base and essential oils plus a hint of menthol was designed to help eliminate shaving irritations like ingrown hairs, bumps, red rash, nicks, and cuts. We'll lose those shaving irritations. Available at Super Walmart, H-E-B, Wegmans, Giant Eagle, Discount Drug, Navy and Marine Exchanges, Amazon, and ShaveSecret.com. Use the code FTL for Free Talk Live and get a discount. Shave Secret, the best shave ever.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with AgristHosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to AgristHosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's AgristHosting.com.
My name is Jacob Hornberger. I'm president of the Future of Freedom Foundation, which Congressman Ron Paul awarded for having an outstanding freedom website. Write us at fff@fff.org, and we'll send you a free 3-month subscription to our monthly journal of libertarian essays and our booklet, Economic Liberty in the Constitution, which George Mason University economics professor Walter Williams praised in a recent column. That's fff@fff.org.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations.
allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. Call in, talk about what you want to talk about. It's Mark with you.
Peakless Mountaineer.
And Melanie.
The number, 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE, as in freedom. And I want to tell you a little bit about Divvy. So from mid-March through mid-July of this year, Divvy, the new and easy-to-use cryptocurrency that we've been talking about here on Free Talk Live for some time, increased in value by over 10 times. Now, nothing's stopping Divvy from increasing exponentially again. In fact, crypto's on a run, and evidence is that this is what they call altcoins may be going following Bitcoin up. And that's in fact their goal. Divvy's price jumped 10 times in correlation with the release of their new beta wallet. And will it go up further when the wallet's actually fully released? Well, I don't know, but here on Free Talk Live, we're pretty happy about our decision to hook up with Divvy a year ago. And in fact, we are deepening that relationship and intend to do so more. You can go find out more at diviproject.org. That's DIVI project.org. DivvyProject.org. Now, I'm not going to make a recommendation on what you do with your hard-earned money as far as investments go, because we don't know what the future is going to bring. But right now there's a 10 times increase.
I can make one very common sense recommendation: don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Yeah, that's a safe one.
Or as my financial planner would say, diversify your portfolio. DIVIproject.org. Let's go to Graham calling in from Pennsylvania. Graham, you're on Free Talk Live. What's on your mind?
Yeah, hi, about the mail-in voting ballots.
Yeah.
To me, I don't vote anymore, but with the mail-in ballots, I don't really care if they're easy to commit fraud with or if Trump ignores them or not. Because to me, what the real problem is just the career-long civil servants, the bureaucracy, or the bureaucrats or politicians who go through the revolving door, working as a lobbyist, going back into government, working as a lobbyist, going back into government.
In a lot of cases, though, politicians will be in for decades, and I mean, obviously voting doesn't seem to work in getting them out, but I guess
and there are a lot of unelected officials with a surprising amount of power.
Oh yes, absolutely. There's an incredible amount. I don't disagree with that. I don't know. To me, it seems like if voting is a valuable thing and everybody acts like it is, then we should act like it's valuable. I get that Sunday night's sort of conservative talk live as opposed to, say, Ian and his like, everybody should be able to vote 9 times for all the parties or something. But, I mean, the voting system is a mess. And it, I don't like it. As far as I'm concerned, you ought to know something about the political process in order to participate in it.
Well, I was definitely disappointed at the amount of the lack of change with Trump getting elected. I mean, I thought something was going to be different, and very little.
Yeah. Well, I think Trump probably found out that being president isn't all it's cracked up to be as far as power goes. Graham, since you're not a voter, you probably know a great deal about the voting system and that sort of thing. What made you choose to stop voting?
I just realized that after voting for a couple elections, all it is just up and down emotions. They're just toying with your emotions. And as soon as they get into power, they don't keep any of their promises, either because they're unable to or don't want to.
Yeah, I think you might be right. Well, I'm certainly not going to argue that point. I mean, honestly, if you spent no time thinking about an election, you would probably get the same results as if you spent all your time thinking about the next election.
I did want to address your point of you think that people should know something about politics before voting.
Yeah.
While in generally I agree with that, there is also a risk of having sort of an accepted source of political information, and if you don't have enough of that information, then you don't qualify to vote, and that could be a big issue.
Sure. So we already have a test to see whether or not people get to vote. I mean, that already exists. That test we call the American Citizenship Test. The thing is we exempt most of the people who vote from taking that test. And the evidence suggests, at least if you watch late night television where they go around and they interview people on, ask them any question about the world today or history or anything. I mean, literally, people didn't know what the sides were in the Civil War. They couldn't find the United States on a map. I mean,
okay, that's some serious selection bias. Like, I
think it is.
Average.
I think selection bias is there. What they did with the map in this case is they transposed the Western and Eastern hemispheres on the map. But since it's a globe, you can do this, right? Like, there's nothing factually wrong with putting Asia on the left.
You didn't put Europe in the middle? I can't find anything.
Right, and. I mean, I agree. There's selection bias that goes on, but man, oh man, where do they find these people? So let's go on to the phones. We got Joseph in Massachusetts. Joseph, you're on Free Talk Live.
I haven't talked to you guys in a while. I want to talk about possibly two subjects. Maybe I can bring in a third one. This police. I heard you. I think it was you. I'm not sure who it was. Ian or someone said a few weeks ago the police killed someone in their sleep in your area. We have a lady here who has her own talk show, and I can understand she supports the police, and she doesn't believe that they should lose their diplomat or not their diplomat. They should lose their
qualified immunity.
I think they should.
I mean, qualified immunity for police is kind of the same as diplomatic immunity. Do whatever you want and then just go home.
Yeah, she doesn't believe they should lose it. I have mixed feelings. When they're wrong, they should be accountable like anyone else. What's your take on this? Because they get away with so much sometimes.
I'm with you. If they're wrong, they should be just as accountable for every action they take as anyone else.
If you should think they should be just as accountable as everybody else when they're wrong, then you don't believe in qualified immunity. Qualified immunity only protects you when you're wrong.
Yeah.
Like, if you're right, like, if you sue somebody and they're in the right, they still win, qualified immunity or not.
In other words, they can do wrong and not get punished, right?
Yes.
Correct.
Well, that's not right either.
Well, they're protected in sort of a even greater than corporatism sort of protection, in so much as you can't sue them individually for their individual actions of things that they did on the job that were considered to be sort of acceptable within their the purview of their jobs.
Just like doctors. I have a friend that was killed by medical profession.
Yeah.
He got very little, I mean, when some doctor does something serious, he should be accountable. Why are these people getting this kind of qualified immunity?
Good question.
I think that's really the question is why? And why do police need qualified immunity? Because we have more private security personnel in America than we do police officers, and somehow they manage to do all their different varied types of security jobs without too much trouble. So why at 855-450-3733, why do police need qualified immunity?
Because security agencies don't go around starting problems. They just end
I
problems.
mean, I agree that there should not be frivolous lawsuits, but there are a lot like
frivolous lawsuits exist. Yep, there's no doubt about it.
And that is a problem. That I don't know of frivolous lawsuits that go through against police ever.
No. So we don't need qualified immunity. What about the cop that you mentioned a few weeks ago that killed somebody? What was it in your area?
I don't know what you're referencing.
I feel like I would have
Duncan
heard.
Lemp, I think, is what he's referencing.
I don't know.
Shot in his sleep during a no-knock raid.
Oh, yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Also, his pregnant wife injured by a flashbang that went off in the bed after he got shot while sleeping.
So he's dead?
Yep.
Yep, that's what happens when you get shot. Often. Thanks for the call.
There's no lawsuit against it, I guess.
There'll probably be a lawsuit, but it'll be against the town, and then we, the taxpayers, will pay for it. Thanks for the call, Joseph. 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE, as in Free Talk Live.
Have you ever thought about turning your Glock, XD Family, or 1911 handgun into a semi-automatic carbine? It only takes about 30 seconds. The MechTech Carbine Upper is classified as an accessory and can be delivered right to your doorstep with no FFL or background check required. It's the world's most versatile pistol accessory. Build your custom upper today. Simply go to handgunconversion.com. That's handgunconversion.com.
When you have a pain in the neck, a real pain in the neck, back, shoulder, or legs, you now have two convenient choices to get fast relief without taking another pill. Because now, Sunny Bay heating wraps and pillows are available at both Amazon and Walmart. Yes, see Sunny Bay's 4.5 to 5-star customer reviews on Amazon.com or Walmart.com. Our made in the USA microwavable heat wraps, heatable neck pillows, and extra large body wraps are designed better for perfect support where and when you need it. Even while driving, Sunny Bay wraps will not burn and stay balanced to provide soothing hot or cold therapy to help treat temporary or chronic pain. And the best part? Sunny Bay quality products start at under $20. Join thousands of happy customers and see why Sunny Bay products have a lifetime 100% positive rating on both Amazon and Etsy. It's easy. Click Amazon or Walmart and search today for Sunny Bay.
Do the letters IRS give you anxiety? I'm Dan Pilla. I've defended people from the IRS for more than 40 years. My book, How to Get Tax Amnesty, created the tax resolution industry and is responsible for helping hundreds of thousands of people. It can help you too. If you're a non-filer or facing IRS enforcement right now, your case is unique. You need real help, not cookie-cutter advice. My clients get my personal attention. Buy my book at danpilla.com and get a free consultation directly with me. That's danpilla.com. Let's start solving your tax problem right now.
The Subway restaurant chain has reacted with shock this week after executives discovered that many customers are apparently purchasing footlong sandwiches and eating the entire 12 inches by themselves. A spokesperson for the company addressed reporters this morning.
This is not how our products are intended to be consumed. Our footlong subs have always been meant to be shared among 2 or more friends. Eating an entire foot of food shouldn't be possible for most people, but they've been doing it somehow, and it needs to stop.
To encourage healthier eating habits, Subway is clarifying its marketing, adjusting language on menus and in television commercials like this one. $5 footlongs? Wow, that's $2.50 per person. Subway's corporate leadership says they were horrified to learn of the misunderstanding.
It's frightening. I mean, you don't see people eating entire pizzas by themselves. We even cut the footlongs in half into 2 regular-sized sandwiches before handing them to you. But I guess that wasn't clear enough.
This is the Onion News Network.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com to receive our usually weekly news updates by email. Plus, we have a Twitter account at twitter.freetalklive.com, and you can follow us on the decentralized Mastodon platform at toot.freetalklive.com. So please follow us at toot.freetalklive.com and sign up for our emails at news.freetalklive.com. Bitcoin.com has launched a trading platform at local.bitcoin.com, allowing you to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash via dozens of payment methods like PayPal, Venmo, bank deposit, remittances, or meeting in person with cash. There are no ID requirements to sign up for and use the site, and all communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. Finally, a global trading platform that respects your privacy. Visit local.bitcoin.com to get started trading Bitcoin Cash. local.bitcoin.com.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live, come on and call in. The number 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE. Real quick, just want to tell you about the Discord lines. So I think it was last night we got, or was the night before last? I don't know. It was recently. We got just call after call after call in the Discord lines. And you could, by the way, listen to any show that we've done in the past by simply going to archives.freetalklive.com. You get them for free. Just archives.freetalklive.com, and you can scroll back. I don't think we notated that there was a bunch of Discord calls on that particular show, but it sounds great when you call in through the Discord lines. All you do is go to discord.freetalklive.com. Discord.freetalklive.com. You got to do the name and user and pass and stuff if you haven't done it already. But this is one of the most active libertarian chats on Discord. So you get that added benefit or detriment, whatever you want to call it. But you can call in and use the microphone on your computer and you'll sound better. Even better, if you have some kind of like microphone that plugs into your computer, you'll sound golden. Headphones even help with that. So discord.freetalklive.com. Let's go to the phones. We've got Jared in Oregon. Jared, you're on Free Talk Live. What's on your mind, sir?
Hey, I just want to say thanks for you guys' program. It's really awesome.
Thank you.
And I just wanted to share this as a really crazy world we got right now. I went in Oregon. You know, they have all the public school employees out there pumping your gas. You know, they scratch your car up, put the wrong fuel and all that kind of stuff. It's a no-brainer job, you know.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You guys in Oregon are your legislature believes you're too incompetent to pump gas.
Yeah, they did in like Portland and stuff, but right before this whole pandemic lockdown, it had just got passed by the voters down here in this county where I live in that we can pump our own gas.
I'm pretty sure that was a job creation program.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. Sure.
Yeah. Like I said, it's for the public school mindless people. You know, kind of a sad job anyway. But this lady Karen me yesterday because they've already messed my car up.
Karen is now a verb. Okay, so what happened?
It sure is, dude. This is so crazy. So because I now pump my own gas, and I was at this pump, and there's 12 pumps, you know. And so I'm at pump number 1, and she's way over at the 12th one.
Yep.
And usually the lady that came up to me, usually she'll let me pump my gas. And so she was letting me, and then this lady started yelling at us, "Oh, it's against the law, you're breaking the law," all this kind of stuff. And so the lady's like, "Okay, I guess I'm going to have to pump your gas for you. It is a violation of the law." And I started explaining to them that it was just an executive action over here in Oregon. So I straight up told her, we the sheep slaves at the bottom, we don't have to apply to the executive action yet. It hasn't been hasn't been turned into a law yet. And this other woman came over and just started screaming at me about laws this and laws that. And so I told her, well, in the late 1800s or in the mid 1800s, it was actually illegal to not hang black people. That was the law. So you're pro laws that are about hanging black people. And she slammed the gas down and yanked it out of my car and went back in and gave me my change back and said I'm never allowed on that property again. And then called the police on me for no.
So this was like the manager and the
No, this was just one of the little car hop people, you know, that comes, runs out and puts gas. And then, so I went in and I left because I had to calm down because I was like, wow, this is really trippy. And so I came back and talked to the manager, and I have to go meet with her tomorrow and stuff. But the lady called the police on me. Like, I put on the dispatch and heard the call in that that two couples were acting erratic and they're trespassing. And it was just really, this whole pandemic is turning all of us against each other. And it is so sad.
Yeah.
No kidding.
The human primate really isn't made for this level of stress, it seems, and people are taking it real rough. And the idea that
and without the
you're going to do something terrible by pumping gas. Go ahead.
See, I think this is terrible for the kids. Most importantly, everybody's always worried about the kids. We always do all this crap for the kids, dude. My daughter, I don't even want to take her to town. We live up in the hills. We go to town like twice a week for all of our supplies and stuff.
Yep.
And I don't even want to take her because she doesn't know how to read people. I was trying to teach her Spanish. There's a big Spanish-speaking community here. And so she's like saying no entiendo and saying different colors. And now they just look at her, and she don't even want to look at them because all you see is these weird eyes. It is the worst thing for this generation. We're gonna have a bunch of pill popping, scared of their own shadow kids if we don't just
turn people into psychopaths because they can't see faces. Interesting point. Well, they wear masks often in say Asian countries. I mean, they don't seem to have the problems there. I don't know. I mean, they got some problems.
I'm not so sure I agree.
I know, but
one.
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know a bunch of Americans that are flocking to go live like the Asian people. I hate it. Obama did that a whole bunch. He would always compare us to third world countries, he's like, well, in Uzbekistan, they got 7 families in a house. Here in America, we just need to learn to live like that, and look where we are now. You know?
Thanks for the call, Jared. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yep. 855. I want you to defend that just 1 second. 855-450-3733. Go ahead. Peakless Mountaineer.
Yeah, I would definitely say that the countries that have grown accustomed to ordinarily wearing face masks are more dysfunctional than functional. I mean, there are social skills that you lose out on, and there's a health detriment from your body not knowing whether it should be prepared to run or to heal your organs. Because if you can't see someone's face, I mean, reading the eyes is possible, but we're terrible at it, which is part of why politicians can smile and we don't notice that their eyes are never smiling. But a big part of it is I need to know whether you're angry at me or scared of something behind me in order
It's a very basic human need, right?
It really is. But a lot of these countries really don't have that focus on, okay, is the individual health a priority? Like, are these people experiencing greater physical detriment by having this situation?
Yeah, I don't think that Asia is the example I would use as something to aspire to.
I'm just saying that it has. When I went there, they were wearing masks. A lot of them, and I mean, not obviously all of them. I'd say about maybe 5 or 10% of the population had masks on, and likely they were people who were ill, you know, and they just kind of got used to it at some point or another. Let's go to Mike calling in from New York. Mike, you're on Free Talk Live.
Thanks for having me on.
You're welcome.
I think it was 2 callers ago.
Yes.
Basically asked the question, what was the purpose of qualified immunity? It obviously has run amok, it doesn't seem reasonable to have police be, indemnity from any actions that they take.
Mm-hmm.
So, I believe the original purpose was to have, if police are doing something in the reasonable course of their job, so that that had recently become unconstitutional for them to do according to a court ruling, so that police didn't have to constantly be apprised of, yesterday's court rulings. Let's say, and this is a silly example, but it would be nice. Let's say it's unconstitutional for cops to pull you over for speeding. And then, that ruling happens today, and tomorrow, somewhere in the country, a cop pulls someone over for speeding.
Every other industry has to abide by laws that are passed as soon as they take effect. No other industry is immune from suit because they didn't feel like keeping up with the regulations that govern them.
I don't think Mike's making the argument. I think he's just explaining.
Yeah, it is a total reversal of ignorance of the law is no excuse.
Yeah, right. Ignorance of the law is an excuse if you're law enforcement. And
So then, I'm not defending the policy. I'm just clarifying some facts. So then what happened was it was exacerbated because it morphed into anything that a cop has done that could be seen as wrong that there hadn't been a specific court ruling about, they were immune from. So there was like a crazy instance where the police went in and used a whole bunch of like flashbangs and tear gas and stuff, and they were immune from that because there had never been a court ruling against that before. And then the next step that happened was, because judges knew judges knew that if they didn't rule on something, then there would never be a court ruling, so qualified immunity would always be present. So now you have judges who aren't making rulings, so that if it happens again, qualified immunity still stands. So I think that's where we're at now.
Well, they can't not make a ruling. If there's a case before them, it gets resolved one way or the other.
But yeah, I mean, I don't have perfect understanding, but those are the broad strokes of how I understand it.
Well, I definitely think that's what it was sold as. But I really don't see a downside of having to update them on the laws that they're supposed to enforce.
Yeah, I can see why people would say, hey, look, if we don't give these police officers some kind of protection, they're never going to do their jobs, so we have to give them protection. But, at this point, we've run the experiment, and we see what the results are. And I got to say, out with qualified immunity. Out. I mean, it doesn't exist in any other job. It doesn't need to exist in this one. Thank you for the call, Mike. Appreciate it. The number 855-450-3733. 855-450-FREE here on Free Talk
Remember when
Live.
you first heard about Bitcoin? How long did it take you to realize this little project would soon change the world? Do you kind of wish you had gotten involved sooner? Well, now is your chance to be a part of the next revolution in money. Intercoin is working to finally make crypto go mainstream. It's designed to be scalable enough to support everyday payments and even elections without the state. Bitcoin was originally supposed to be a peer-to-peer cash system, the way we would all pay one another without having to trust any third party. But instead, over time, it mostly became a store of value. That's because every 10 minutes, the Bitcoin network must put all transactions into a block, and that block can only hold so much. If crypto is to become mainstream, for people to use it for everyday payments, we need a new architecture, one that is as secure as Bitcoin while being far more scalable. Check out intercoin.org to find out more and maybe pick up some of those coins for yourself.
Is oral health important to you? If you don't like your own teeth, fresh breath, or kissing people, then by all means, stop listening. Several years ago, I met Jessica Armand, founder and CEO of My Magic Mud, and I became passionate about the product that she created and never want to live without it. It's clinically proven to whiten teeth, but I find it does much more. They want you to love My Magic Mud as much as I do, so they're giving you a money-back guarantee plus 20% off. Go to mymagicmud.com and use coupon code FTL20 at checkout. mymagicmud.com, FTL20.
LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Making history. Fox News. I'm Mary Corsetti. After spending the last 2 months in space, astronauts Doug Hurley and Bob Behnken aboard the SpaceX Dragon made a successful splash landing in the Gulf of Mexico today. Emerging about 75 minutes later, Hurley beaming with gratitude on NASA TV.
You should take a moment to just cherish this day, especially given all the things that have happened this year. We certainly thank you enough.
And former NASA astronaut Walter Cunningham, who flew on Apollo 7, joined Fox's America's News headquarters to comment.
I'm impressed with the mission, and I'm also impressed with how much things have changed in the last 52 years, believe me.
Also new today, the Marine Corps says 8 troops are presumed dead after their landing craft sank off the Southern California coast during a training exercise. The 26-ton tank-like craft sank in hundreds of feet of water off San Clemente Island with 15 Marines and 1 Navy sailor aboard. 8 Marines were rescued, but 1 later died, and 2 are in critical condition. Plus, Florida's East Coast is getting heavy showers and flooding from Tropical Storm Isaias, which weakened from its hurricane status yesterday. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis warned citizens to take the storm seriously. The storm is expected to travel along the state's eastern coast and then track up or just off the eastern seaboard early in the week.
I think the winds are around 65 miles an hour sustained with northwestern movement at 9 miles an hour, but it's a tropical storm. It's not a hurricane, and the worst of the weather is out over the ocean. The beaches are all closed here up and down the Florida coastline. The surf is very rough, and we're told that we could expect 5 to 8 foot waves, maybe even bigger throughout the day. A storm surge of perhaps 2 to 4 feet, and several inches of rain could be dumped along the Florida coastline, and that could cause some flash flooding.
Fox's Rick Leventhal in Palm Beach. America is listening to Fox News.
From the Fox News Podcasts Network, download and listen to The Untold Story with Martha McCallum. The host of The Story on Fox News Channel sits down with major newsmakers each week to get their untold story. Subscribe and listen now by going to foxnewspodcasts.com.
President presidential hopeful Joe Biden is still deciding on who will be his vice presidential pick. One of the top contenders, U.S. Representative Karen Bass, joins Fox News Sunday to retract her 2016 comments that have landed her in hot water for praising the late Cuban leader Fidel Castro.
My involvement in Cuba has centered on health care and promoting democracy. Do I know an awful lot more now? Do I understand that the Castro regime did not have the same freedoms as we do in the United States, was a brutal regime. They don't have freedom of press, freedom of protest.
Biden is expected to announce his running mate later this month. Also new tonight, Assistant Secretary for Health under the Trump administration, Admiral Brett Gerard, joining NBC's Meet the Press to discuss the importance of mask wearing during the coronavirus pandemic.
Wearing a mask is incredibly important, but we have to have like 85 or 90% of individuals wearing a mask and avoiding crowds. That is essentially gives you the same outcome as a complete shutdown. And why do I say that? Look at Arizona, look at Florida, Texas, Louisiana.
President Trump had advocated for the anti-malarial drug hydrochloroquine to be used as a coronavirus treatment, but Gerard says that despite the drug looking very promising at first, multiple trials have shown that there are no benefits to it treating COVID-19. Plus, the U.S. military is working to find out if dogs can detect the coronavirus in humans.
In a joint effort between the U.S. Army and the University of Pennsylvania, researchers are hoping to train dogs to develop pinpoint detection of coronavirus biomarkers in humans, according to the Army Times. Each dog in training will learn how to detect the proteins the human immune system produces while fighting coronavirus without ever needing to be exposed to the actual virus. Researchers from the university previously trained dogs to successfully detect both diabetes and ovarian cancer.
Fox's Jeff Minoso. I'm Mary Corsetti, and this is Fox News.
Listen to be part of the conversation with me, Brian Kilmeade. I'll talk about the biggest stories of the day and get your take along with some of the biggest newsmakers around. Listen live on the Fox News app or get the podcast at briankilmeadshow.com.
After excitedly posting an image of a Lamborghini Rebenton to his Facebook account earlier this afternoon, 38-year-old little boy Nick Weber talked to Onion reporters about his passion for fast cars.
When I saw that car, I was like, whoa, it was so cool. I had to show it to all my friends. I like red cars the best, but only ones that are really, really fast. I can't wait to get one when I'm older. I'm going to get the fastest car in the whole world.
Though Weber also frequently posts about his other interests, which include motorcycles, fighter jets, and Marvel superhero Iron Man, the nearly 40-year-old small child confirmed that sports cars are his favorite, and the picture of the bright yellow Lamborghini has already garnered 15 likes and 9 comments from other enthused middle-aged children who are friends with Weber on the social networking site.
My best friend Bradley, he sent me a picture of a blue convertible that's so awesome. It has these big wheels and even has a racing stripe on it.
After watching several online videos of fast cars and eating a peanut butter and jelly sandwich for lunch, the home-owning little tyke went to his room to take a nap.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
That's right, it is Free Talk Live, and you are free to call in and talk live here on the airwaves. Every day of the week, we are on the air 7 days a week. From 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern Time. Then you can call in and talk about whatever's on your mind. Now, there are instances like this week coming where I will be at the Young Americans for Liberty event, Mobilize 2020 at yaliberty.org/mobilize, where we will do shows where we do interview-based shows and put them together during the day, live to tape format, and then play it. At that point, sorry, we're not doing the call-in on those nights. But generally, we're here. Quite generally. 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE. Let's go to, it appears to be John in Tennessee. John, you're on Free Talk Live.
Yes, I'm wanting to give a comment to the qualified immunity.
Yeah, what's your thoughts?
The initial intent was to protect officers from when they accidentally break a law or unintentionally. It turned out to give them a carte blanche. Now they knowingly and willingly, break laws or even use it to violate your rights.
So
but
if your law enforcers can accidentally break laws commonly, then you need to reevaluate your system.
Yeah, they will. People will.
There's always being a police. I was a police officer for over 20 years too, and there are stressful situations where you speed to catch up to somebody or something like that, and something happens. You're not intentionally planning to hurt somebody or to break laws, but it happens.
Well,
now, if you go ahead and...
But I'm not even saying that's a problem with you. I'm saying that's a problem with the system, that there's so many laws that the people who are the most about upholding laws can accidentally break them to the point where it's common for that to happen.
Yeah, and if they
not
have
common,
this... If they have this...
to the point where they intentionally do it.
Right, and that's definitely a problem. But I mean, if they have this forgiveness for accidentally breaking a law, the problem has become that they can do it and harm people and get away with it. But for us, there's no forgiveness for, I didn't know that was the law. You didn't harm anyone.
It's also no forgiveness for, I didn't know that was a police officer. I mean, like if you were, undercover cop for whatever reason gets harmed out in one of these riots or whatever, you can believe that the full force of the law will come down upon the head of whomever did it, if they can get a hold of them. And whereas, the rest of us, it's a different level. Go ahead, John.
Yes, chasing the culprit down. Yeah, I can understand that, because if you intentionally, knowingly harm a police officer, yes, you will be dealt with a lot stringenter. But if you can prove that if there is an undercover or plainclothes officer and there is a melee and he did not identify himself or he has no identifying markings as a police officer, the burden of proof against you that you knowingly attacked a police officer is just as high.
So
I work both sides too, and I've also worked, and that's why I like to comment about what's the difference between security and police officers.
Yeah.
Because after retiring from the police department, I've worked security, and this is in Las Vegas, the capital of security. So
different rules.
The problem is
camera on everyone all the time.
The problem is security is proactive. They're there as a deterrent mainly. They're not there to catch the criminal or prosecute the criminal, where the police officer is there to catch the criminal. They're more reactive than a security officer who's proactive. Just by his presence, he's telling the criminal to stay off my property, go to the next property.
Well, my biggest ethical issue on that, I mean, apart from like what ends up happening that is awful and terrible, is that it just obliterates the idea of equality under the law. And I mean, why have a law if we don't have equality under it?
That's exactly it. Plus, the problem is the training. When I went through the police academy, we had stringent, and I'm talking about stringent psychological evaluations. If you even mentioned that you even thought, they have a lot of trick questions, have you ever thought about suicide and stuff like that? And there's one of those questions out of 99 will already disqualify you.
Well,
and nowadays they just hire, and especially now that I've moved away from the big city, I've seen smaller departments, they can't afford to train their officers.
It's not about they can't afford to train them. They have been directly incentivized by the Supreme Court to get the most incompetent people they can find, because the Supreme Court set up a standard where as long as the cop didn't know it was wrong, then it's okay and nobody faces any penalty, including the cop and the department. So if you educate your people, now you're held accountable. If you don't educate your people and intentionally look for low IQ people, which they have been caught doing and copped to, then you have no accountability.
I wouldn't go that far.
We have evidence
just like school teachers and firefighters. It used to be, if you became a police officer or any kind of public service, you did it because you had a vocation to do it.
Yeah.
You felt the need to help your society. Nowadays, I've seen an influx of people that were the bullies in school, and they just are keep on wanting to be the bullies. And what better job to be a bully than a police officer?
Yeah, it's going to attract that. That's a sad thing. John,
Great place to be a criminal.
One thought that came to mind is that I've, lived around criminals in my life, and I can tell you that they will pretend in the course of their criminal activities to be police officers in order to throw people off. They'll bang on the door and say, police or 5-0 or something like that, or they'll do a variety of things. And
the police do not call themselves 5-0.
No, they don't.
Tip.
Just a tip.
If you have a dumb enough mark, then they'll think they do.
Right. And so, one of the problems is that people, and sometimes criminals will even dress up as police officers and get a police car and these kind of things. The difficulty is that a person doesn't, when a society enforces a greater punishment for police, for individuals that harm police, then what it does is it causes people to imitate the police in the hopes that they might be able to get away with a crime. And so criminals do pretend to be the police in order to get away with stuff. What do you think about that?
Well, the cases of impersonators is actually far in between.
I've seen it.
And in the long run, they do get caught.
Yeah.
Now, my main problem is, when I was an officer, there was no such thing as no-knock warrants. And like I said, I was in the 80s when we had the PCP crisis and stuff like that and all that. No-knock warrants? That is a blatant violation of your constitutional rights.
Well, it's also excessively dangerous for everyone involved. It's dangerous for the people there because you don't know you're not being robbed by the private sector instead of the cops busting in the door.
If somebody busts in my door in the middle of the night, he's going to be met with blasts from the 12-gauge
And then it's more dangerous for the cops because now you have them acting even more like just a random burglar.
And that's why they go in with finger on the trigger.
Yeah.
Even your basic target shooter knows that you do not put your finger on the trigger until you're ready to fire. I've seen videos.
They're ready to fire.
They walk in and they're ready and to go with their finger on the trigger. And now with modern weapons, with these striker fire triggers, there is hardly any trigger pull. So all you have to do is sneeze and the weapon discharges. When I was an officer, we still, in some areas, had revolvers, or we had the hammer drop where the first shot out of your semi-automatic was a double action, where you had to put serious pressure behind that trigger. And we had fewer accidental discharge. It all goes back to, like I say, training.
I agree with you. It's about training. Thank you for the call, John. Appreciate it. The number, 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE. It's nice to see, somebody who's gone through the profession and sees so many of the problems, willing to share those in a frank fashion. Thank you for the call, John. 855-450-FREE, as in Free Talk Live. News from news.bitcoin.com. BTC miners give off a signal of intending to sell. Does this mean a bear cycle? New Zealand police seize $91 million from a Russian exchange operator. Anti-crypto SEC head stepping down, making Bitcoin ETFs more likely. And you can make money by referring people to exchange.bitcoin.com. Bitcoin.com is your source for getting started with cryptocurrencies, getting a wallet, buying Bitcoin Cash, mining, and all the latest cryptocurrency news at news.bitcoin.com. Divi's been a pretty good investment for Free Talk Live. Their ad campaign started in September 2019, and from mid-March to mid-July, the values soared by 10 times. It's not too late. Divi's new wallet hasn't even released yet, and other things are happening that I can't even say on the radio. If you want to invest and potentially do well, go to diviproject.org. I can tell you that FTL is deepening its partnership with the guys from diviproject.org. Past performance is not an indication of future profit. diviproject.org. DIVI project.org.
Got shaving irritation? Shave Secret shaving oil can help stop it. Shave Secret doesn't cost much and is an all-American product. My name is Chuck Howard, and I developed Shave Secret, and pioneered its use starting back in 1991. Ingrown hairs drove me nuts for years. Shaving oil changed all that. Why put up with ingrown hair, bumps, red rash, nicks, and cuts? Shave Secret provides men and women with what we believe is the best shave ever. Our proprietary blend of 100% natural base and essential oils plus a hint of menthol was designed to help eliminate shaving irritations like ingrown hairs, bumps, red rash, nicks, and cuts. We'll lose those shaving irritations. Available at Super Walmart, H-E-B, Wegmans, Giant Eagle, Discount Drug, Navy and Marine Exchanges, Amazon, and ShaveSecret.com. Use the code FTL for Free Talk Live and get a discount. Shave Secret, the best shave ever.
A congressman recently revealed that legislation totaling 2,900 pages and involving more than $1 trillion was available to members of Congress for less than 48 hours to study and consider. That's over 60 pages of legislation per hour. Do you think anyone read the entire bill? I'm Jim Babka with DownsizeDC.org. Consider a proposal buried in a 3,200-page, $388 billion bill, which would have empowered committee chairmen or their agents to examine Americans' tax returns. When this horrible provision came to light, no one claimed to know how it got into the bill. One congressman questioned said, "I didn't write it, I didn't approve it, I wasn't even consulted." If your attorney represented you this way, he might be disbarred. But this is how Congress represents you every day. That's why DownsizeDC.org has created the Read the Bills Act. You can force Congress to read their bills before they pass them at DownsizeDC.org.
The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it.
There are basically two types of advertising, direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer-term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, Mark at freetalklive.com.
Join the LRN.FM Discord for live chat 24/7 at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. Call in, talk about whatever is on your mind. It's Mark with you. 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE. Cryptocurrency's been on quite a run recently. Bitcoin topping over 12,000 in the recent past. And I don't think it's there now, but it's doing pretty well.
Over 11 last I checked.
Yep, and... Oh, terribly sorry. I didn't turn your microphone on there, Peakless Mountaineer.
Yeah, over 11 last I checked.
Yep, this is what, poor quality broadcasting. Yes, so, anyway, go to Bitcoin.com. Now's the time, if you haven't already, now's the time to go learn about cryptocurrencies. They have some very short, easy to understand videos there. You go to Bitcoin.com, click on Get Started, and I think it's Get Started Now, something like that. And there's a list of videos there, any one of which, if you watch, I think the first one is 2.5 minutes or something, you can give it up. Believe me, you got that kind of time. Bitcoin.com. If you already know about cryptocurrency, go over there and check out news.bitcoin.com because they have all the latest news for you. News.bitcoin.com. Let's go to Larry calling in from Indy. Larry, you're on Free Talk Live.
Hey, you know something? I'm a colored person, right?
Okay.
And cops are the least of my worries. What we have here in Indianapolis is we got criminals that run from the cop, that go on high-speed chase from the cop and record it on Facebook, and then shoot at a cop and then they paint their pictures downtown on the boarded up buildings that was burnt out by white people in the name of Black Lives Matter. I don't want Black Lives Matter representing me. But anyway, the COVID deal, the new twist here in Indiana now is if you get caught in a place where one person tested positive, then you got to quarantine for 14 days at gunpoint. So that's what they're doing here.
Say it one more time. What happened?
What happens is if you get caught in a place with somebody has COVID, right, that has tested positive, they might have gotten a test on Monday and they come to church on Sunday and the test comes back on Sunday while you're in service, they'll send somebody to your church. Everybody in the sanctuary has a quarantine for 14 days. So that's what that's going to. And I mean gunpoint quarantine where you cannot get away. But they do have a little due process. You get to go before a judge after so many hours, but you're not going to get out if you don't have no money. So what they're doing is they're slowly taking the ability of people to work. I mean, what do we have in America?
That's not very slow. I mean,
no, but what do you have in America if you can't go to work? I mean, if they can catch you in one building that one person have tested positive, right? And then you're in the sanctuary with 400 or 500 different people, and they say, well, this one person is tested positive. Everybody in the sanctuary is going to have to do a 14-day quarantine. And they say, where are you going to do it? You're going to do it right here in the sanctuary. We'll bring food to you, but you're not going to leave out of here and spread COVID.
So what if you've got the markers for already having had COVID, so you would then therefore presumably be immune?
They're not going to be concerned about that. The only thing they're concerned about is that you have some person in your congregation that has tested positive for COVID.
Which
I don't know whether
you must.
He's feeling any symptoms or anything, but because they believe that you're a threat to the public health, and it's in the public for the public good, then the whole sanctuary is going to be quarantined, right? So they're going to quarantine you, and when your boss talks about where you been, they're going to say, well, somebody had COVID, and they're going to say, hey, you're fired. And then when you go to the front of the judge and says, well, why didn't you pay your rent? Oh, COVID. Say, well, get out in the street. You're homeless. Or the mortgage people. So I don't know what's going on here, but we're taking it too lightly. I guess we feel like now that there's nothing we can really do about it.
Yeah, what can we do about it,
we're in too
Larry?
deep. We're in too deep now, and most people, as the level of cowardice that's going on with our schools, we're depriving our kids of their education. We're depriving of social life. You know, when you were in high school, I lived to go to high school, go to my wrestling practice, go to my dances and my proms and stuff.
Yeah.
They are setting up a scenario where they're stripping all of that out of the guts out of our country. It isn't going to be anything. But one more thing, guys. I looked at it, right, and I looked at history. Look at Japan after the Second World War, after they dropped those two bombs. The first thing that the American pharmaceutical company's done is dump tranquilizers and dope on those people. They rained it down like fire from heaven, and then they made them wear masks because the bacterial spreads were so bad. So we may be in a situation where we're experiencing karma, but you got Google, right? Just look at it. I found it in a 1956.
I've only ever been punished from Google once, but I haven't.
Google's not but porn anyway. But anyway, the thing about it is,
mine's not.
I had it's porn. But anyway, I was reading an article in a 56 Horizon magazine about what they done in real time of what they were doing to the Japanese by dumping in our dope and then having them wear the mask.
Were they doping Japanese during World War II? Were they doing this by flying it over or putting it in the water?
But this was after they dropped the bombs. Then our pharmaceutical companies went up and set up their pharmacies over there, and it was all over the counter. So and they had the advertisement and everything, just like they have here right now. So that was a trial run. But they dumped them and gave them a belly full of tranquilizers and dope, and they had a hard time getting over that. But they did. But I think that this might be some kind of a karma, because the face mask is a shame, you know. I mean, you see people wearing face, it's breaking our spirit. I mean, I see it every day. Well, you know what I done? I went and cut off one of my T-shirt sleeves, and I wear it as a sweatband, or I just use it a collar. And when somebody says, hey, you can't come in here without a race band, you pull that up. And then I got one store that said, hey, you have to have a certain real mask to come in. So that's leading toward, well, you got to buy our mask. Well, how much are your masks? $55 a piece for one day. See, so that's where it could go to. But people are being duped. And, you know, fellas, ladies and gentlemen, the whole thing is nothing but a lie, because a lie can do one thing, right? It destroys itself. And this is destroying itself every day. You got the spoiled pro athletes. They're out there playing. You got the basketball players playing, bumping into each other, sweating on each other, doing everything. So what is
Don't they test
really
them ahead of time?
on?
I think they test those basketball players. Larry, thank you for the call. One thing that he was saying kind of makes me think is that I wonder if the reason that so many people are on edge right now and so angry is because they can't see other people's faces and get the sort of human feedback that's necessary. That's an interesting question. Hadn't thought about that. 855-450-3733. Your humanity is being hidden in that way. This is sort of what Ian was saying. Free Talk Live.
So when we brought him home, we didn't realize that Bear, the rescue dog, was actually sick. He had very flaky skin. He was dropping a lot of fur. And Levette wanted to do steroid injections, special dog food. Nothing seemed to work. So I was at a dead end. DINOVIPE.com. I've been hearing Dinovite on the radio for years. It never actually crossed my mind to try it until it finally sunk in. Oh, you're talking about hair and skin. And, all right, I'll try it. Well, it took probably 6 weeks, but after we started using Dinovite, no more flaky skin. He doesn't scratch and itch, and he started to put weight on.
Dinovite is nutrition.
I wish that we would have started the Dinovite right away. It would have been so much easier.
You won't believe how happy your dog will be.
Every rescue dog in America deserves Dinovite for 90 days.
DINOVITE.com.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it. And once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world. So I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here. And I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, connect with others via the forum at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in liberty and property. Mark Worden can help. PorcupineRealEstate.com.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and our main feed that includes everything. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
So
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market, making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com.
Live video of our key New Hampshire-based shows is streamed on DLive. Please follow and share at dlive.lrn.fm. That's dlive.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. Call in, talk about whatever's on your mind. It's Mark with you.
Peakless Mountaineer.
And Melanie.
855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE. I will remind you about the Discord lines at discord.freetalklive.com too. You can sound great. Let's jump right back in and go with Sebastian calling from New Mexico. Sebastian, you're on Free Talk Live.
Hi there, welcome. I'm a huge fan of you guys. Here in the People's Democratic Republic of New Mexico, we have a governor who is pretty horrible about shutting down, completely shutting down everything again. And we have 4 businesses here where I live in Farmington that are refusing to go along with the shutdown.
Good for them.
And yeah, and I mean they're a small business, and they have to operate, all 4 of them have to operate on a day-to-day basis. So
can you give me some of the names of them? Is that good or bad to say them?
Oh, I think it's good because she's finally trying to get the state attorney's office to file a permanent injunction against them. She's already pulled their food service permits. One is the Country Kitchen in Kirtland. The other one is TJ's Diner in Farmington. And then there's another one, Rubio's in Aztec, and then there's Los Hermanitos in Farmington as well.
So are these all restaurants?
Yes, these are all restaurants.
Yep. I mean, gotta get some food.
Yeah, and I mean, restaurants are getting hit hard because it is very hard to keep your margins up when you have these restrictions on how many people you can have in, let alone a restriction saying you can't open at all.
Right. Well, and she's like, well, you can do outdoor dining, but a lot of these businesses, one's on downtown Main Street. We have a very old historic Main Street, built, most of those buildings were built the turn of the century. So there's really no way to do outdoor dining, and because you would be in the middle of the road essentially.
Yeah.
So so that's been pretty frustrating for a lot of the businesses here, and I just don't know, are we ever going to go back to normal? What do you think?
Good question.
Are we ever going to go back to normal?
History suggests not. I have yet to hear an example of a state voluntarily handing back power.
Yeah, I do think that this is a watershed moment where we will either get a lot more free or a lot less.
Yeah, right. At this point, so many people, I think it's a political football, right? And it's sort of the Democrats versus the Republicans, and all of us are having to deal with their crap, right? I don't care. I don't like these particular teams. I don't like them. But the one team has decided, getting out there and getting back to normal is good, and the other team has decided that anything that looks like it might support in any way, shape, or form something good happening, which would then parlay to the Trump presidency, it must be stopped. Everything that happens now must be bad until November the 6th or whatever the date is.
Well, yeah, that's what I was thinking. It's probably going to go back to normal around November.
I would not count on that.
It does go back to normal.
Yeah.
I would not count on
that was kind of the joke I told, that the lockdown, especially when we didn't know when the main lockdown was going to end, like that the lockdown's going to end on November 6th. But I don't think that's true, because then if Trump wins, they're going to retaliate. And if he loses, then even if they end some of the restrictions they have now, they're going to go psycho crazy with communism. So, I mean, that's basically like an all-encompassing lockdown.
Darned if you do, darned if you don't.
Very much so.
And don't forget that most of the people who work in government are Democrats. This isn't even a joke. It's not speculation. It's just true. Take a look at every state capital in every state, and if there's a blue dot in that state, that blue dot is at that state capital. Every single time. It's because the people who are attracted to work in government for whatever reason are Democrats.
Yeah, I think Republicans can stomach getting a government check less than Democrats can. Your average person walking around.
I think this, because we're a pretty reliably blue state and have been for a long time, and this corner where I'm at in San Juan County has been reliably red, and it seems like whenever the governor has been putting down these orders, she's been coming down extra hard on businesses in this red corner. And I don't know if that's just, my observation or if that's true, but it seems like even the local cops and even the state cops that live in this area, they're not going to go to these businesses and shut things down. The cops that have come and shut businesses down, like gun shops and stuff like that, pawn shops, other things, restaurants, it's been literally a hand-selected group out of Santa Fe, out of the capital, and like the governor's personal Gestapo. And
I will say they did overshoot this one, because in a lot of cases, I mean, even in New Hampshire, everything wasn't exactly getting enforced. There are some places that never shut down that we're told to, because the governors were like, "Oh, my cops will just go do this," and the cops like, "The hell we are! We're not going to shout over that. Have fun."
Exactly.
You know what I thought was funny here, Sebastian, is that New Mexicans are known for being sort of surprised when people know that they're a state, right? And you had to let everybody know that Santa Fe is the capital of New Mexico.
It's funny. That's the number one question I get asked is like, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm from New Mexico. They're like, is that like in America? Like, you're really white.
When'd you move to America?
I'm like,
are you able to vote?
I can't find this on a world map.
Now, consider that democracy is a thing, and we let these people make decisions for the rest of us.
Right, there you are. People, that might be a thing, knowing some of the states of the union. I don't know. It's just a list. Sebastian, thank you for the call. Appreciate it. It's nice to get somebody from KENN there and Farmington. Not to say that David isn't great. I'm just saying it's great to have another caller. The number 855-450-3733.
I just wanted to make one quick note about, it'll go back to normal after the election. Okay, so I don't know if it's actually a thing that Trump wants to do to reduce government power, but he certainly hasn't really done it. And the Democratic Party that controls Biden is actively in favor of increasing state power, and they're very open about that. So we are not going back to normal.
Well, I mean, I've seen some places that have gone back to normal. People seem to want that. Right? And the question is can they get, because
the people definitely want it.
Some politicians have been quoted recently as saying these people are ungovernable. Right? And
that's the goal.
The highest compliment.
Yeah, I agree. And the thing is that what it does is it reveals that ultimately they cannot force us to do things. I mean, They can't make us, because if we all as a group just say, sorry, we're not going to do it. We're just not going to. Yeah, maybe you slide the mask on in order to not have some trouble or whatever, but just sort of the reticence, the constant friction that of people who just don't want to have these masks on, sooner or later it just falls away.
We all as a people can barely agree on breathing oxygen.
We can't, agreed. But and I'm just saying sort of in regions. And in regions, people are just like, I don't want to do this. If you go into grocery stores here, sometimes you'll see
the old they can't arrest all of us.
Yeah, they can't arrest all of us. Let's go to BP calling in from Charleston, South Carolina. BP, you're on Free Talk Live.
Hey, how y'all?
All's well. What's on your mind?
Super. Hey, I just wanted to tell you, man, I'm getting old. I mean, I'm an old timer now, 63, and the things that are going on just on the highway is getting crazy. People tailgating and bird fingering you and passing you on double lines and just no respect at all for any kind of of stuff. You know, it's crazy.
Do you have any idea why it is, BP?
Got something to do with this Black Lives Matter stuff, I think. I mean, I live in the woods, and I've been hunkered down for like 4 or 5 months now. But
BP, I'm going to hold you over. The number 855-450-3733, Free Talk Live.
Would you like to get back that full head of hair from years past? Introducing Reveal from GCNlife.com. Beverly Hills dermatologist Dr. Nathan Newman invented Reveal, which contains polypeptides with natural botanicals and no parabens, sulfates, silicones, or dyes for a salon-quality hair growth product. Reveal. Here's Dr. Newman.
I have treated a lot of patients who lose their hair and they lose their confidence. We've created a unique set of polypeptides, which we call HPT6. The HPT6 contains the polypeptides from 6 different plants. The scalp infusion treatment should be used on wet or dry scalp. The Reveal hair care system is designed to be used for men and women alike.
Get Reveal at GCNlife.com with a 30-day money-back guarantee. So try Reveal today at GCNlife.com or 844-443-6637. Plus a discount up to 25% off for Reveal at GCNlife.com or 844-443-6637.
Tahibo Tea Club's original pure Pau d'Arco Super Tea comes from the only tree in the world that fungus doesn't grow on. So it naturally has antifungal, antiviral, antibacterial, anti-infection, anti-inflammation, and anti-parasite properties. But maybe more importantly, Tahibo Tea Club's original pure Pau d'Arco Super Tea builds corpuscles in the blood which carry oxygen to our organs and cells. Our organs and cells need oxygen to regenerate themselves. The immune system needs oxygen to develop, and cancer happens to die in oxygen. The tea is great for healthy people, and it can truly be miraculous for someone fighting a potentially life-threatening disease due to an infection, diabetes, or cancer. Tahibo Tea Club's original pure Pau d'Arco Super Tea is only $34.95 plus shipping. Order now at shopsupertea.com or call 818-984-6100. That's shopsupertea.com or call 818-984-6100. Shopsupertea.com.
Because we are smothering in spam, please do not reply to all when you can instead reply. I was recently among over 100 invited to a corporate reunion. It's always a warm affair, and that's the problem. Enthusiasm for our upcoming get-together caused many recipients to RSVP the organizer with a cheery reply to all. I can't wait. Then others piled on with a reply to all to that. Then the "I'm out of my office now" autoresponders joined in. So I replied to all, asking that we all reply only to the organizer. Hey, at least I tried. One invitee, apparently retired, shot back, "Point taken, but I really like seeing the responses since they're so positive." Smiley face. This better be an open bar. From survivalspeech.com, I'm Holland Cook.
What if you want to hear the latest episode of Free Talk Live, but all you have is your phone, you forgot to download our archive, and you have no data connection? You can call our Listen line at 641-793-0191. That's a long-distance number, so you may incur charges. If not, listen as long as you want. 641-793-0191. The Free Talk Live Listen line, 641-793-0191.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at Bitcoin.com. That's Bitcoin.com.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Free Talk Live, 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE here on Free Talk Live. It's Mark with you.
Peakless Mountaineer.
And Melanie.
Intercoins, programmable coins, are designed to help groups raise money for a new project or initiative in a way that's compliant with regulation. Coins can represent securities that obey individual rules, like not being sold to U.S. residents for 40 days. Purchased coins can contain rules that govern how they are to be spent and when they are to be cashed out. And Intercoin itself is designed to provide full, trustless liquidity between any currency pairs, removing the need to list coins on exchanges to enable secondary trading. Intercoin is attempting to regain some of our freedoms that are threatened on the internet and in meat space, and we think that that's important here on Free Talk Live, and so important that FTL accepted $40,000 worth of Intercoin tokens from Intercoin Inc. for advertising. If you think freedom's important too, check out Intercoin at intercoin.org. You can invest in this project and potentially make big gains. And you don't have to have a bunch of money to do it. Or just be involved and perhaps shape its future. It's intercoin.org. Go over there, check it out, find out, because I think this is going to be important. Intercoin.org. Let's go back to the phones. We've got BP from South Carolina, and he sees that the world is it's upset, and he thinks that it may have something to do with Black Lives Matter. So what's the connection there, BP?
Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what's going on. I've been hunkered down, and I'm normally a Florida boy, and I've been in Charleston for about 30 years now, but it's like the Wild Wild West up here when I moved here. But now, in the past couple months, people are just ruthless. It's crazy. I mean, I like to stay to myself, and I'm I'm not a dummy. I'm former military and whatnot. But dadgummit, people are just rude and ruthless. In the past just few months, it's like the steroids are kicking in or something. I have no idea.
I was kind of thinking that it might be the masks, that people are, they're walking around, they can't see each other's faces, they can't get the sort of human feedback that they might need. But I'm seeing this, as people are talking about it today, I am seeing this same sort of thing, is that there's a lot of people are on edge. They're grumpier than usual.
Well, I mean, the masks, the polarizing.
We're all, I'm crankier than I normally am because, it's just me and the two dogs here, and dadgummit, movie after movie, and news after news. But I tell you, remember how a few years back, the youngins would want to wear hoodies, even in the summertime when it was 110 degrees out. They'd want a hoodie on, kind of conceal themselves incognito. Okay, now it's even better for the dirty boys that they have the hoodie on and the mask. It's like I feel weird going into a store with my special mask on because it looks like I'm a dadgum, robber.
Right.
Wait, it's like it feels like I'm going to rob them, and I know that I'm not going to rob them because I have access to my brain, and I still feel like I'm going to rob them. So people who are not me, I would imagine, feel that way even more.
I'm not going to get over walking into a bank with a mask on. Like, that's just the strangest thing.
It's like, are you sure? It's like, this is a trap. Like, are you sure? Like, I feel like, no, I won't walk into a bank then. Like, no, I don't care. Like,
BP, thanks for the call. Let's go to Robert calling in from South Carolina. Robert, you're on Free Talk Live.
Yes, sir. I just wanted to say that you were talking about whether or not things will get worse after the election or not. I predict that they'll get worse after the election either way because of the fact that people feel that the economic situation is deteriorating because the disease is the kind that's not going away. That apparently that virus was engineered for exactly this kind of destruction. It concludes the characteristics of three other viruses that were particularly problematic in the past. And also people who have had it, it comes back to them somehow. And there are 20 different varieties that are out there already. So I think that we're going to have it around for a long time, and it's going to be particularly problematic. And I therefore think that the situation will get worse. And I think as long as it gets worse and people feel insecure, that they will resort to things which they hope maybe bring them some peace and happiness, and sometimes those things are very short-sighted. For example, like we saw on TV, where people were attacking banks and things like that. Well, the banks are just providing a service.
Well, that is not true.
They are a very, very heavily regulated industry to the point that they essentially function as an arm of the government.
They are subsidiaries of the Federal Reserve. The banks are neither innocent.
I don't think that the protesters or rioters or whatever we're going to call whomever are attacking banks because they are franchises of the Federal Reserve. I think that they're doing it because it's the next building in line.
I mean, that is to
I don't
varying
think that's their
degrees
motivation, but I do think that was a significant cause of what are their actual motivations. I mean, I'm with this guy about like the economic situation is just. I mean, the numbers finally came out, and it is the worst plummet for a single quarter in U.S. history. It's like 32% drop in GDP. Like this is an insane change in our economic situation. And that
it is shocking.
And that does tend to be the thing that happens right before governments get absolutely terrifying, like Stalin, Hitler level terrifying.
We were just talking about pathogens and their relationship to authoritarian regimes, and I think it's because people in many cases they call for it, and if they're not calling for it, they're contributing to the situation that makes other people want to call for it. It's not. I mean, one cannot fault those that would like to see a more authoritarian state if they're seeing buildings on fire and things like that. I by the way, I haven't seen a building on fire.
I mean,
yes,
in weeks, I can because that's a ridiculous solution. It's like, oh, okay, well, this guy set a building on fire. Like, replace the United States federal government with any other gang. Like, oh, this guy set a building on fire, therefore the Crips. Like, no.
Thank you for the call, Robert. Okay, so look, the government has set itself up as the business that protects us from the bad things, whatever those bad things are.
Well, the only ones that are allowed to anyway.
Right, that's their claim. And when you're educated by this same organization to believe that claim over the course of, 13 of your most formative years, then not surprised that many in the population don't ask any questions about whether or not that's true, because it's been presented as true by people that they love and respect. And these
parental figures,
right? Teachers.
Yeah, so it's a predictable result that's different than the people doing it are blameless. If I leave here and go stack piles of cash on my porch, it is very predictable that I will be robbed.
Yes.
That doesn't mean that the people doing it are not thieves.
Yeah, that's true. People need to examine. I mean, we need to examine all portions of our life and see what's working. And it seems demonstrable that after 9,000 years of trying this top-down hierarchical monopoly that we call the state, in some form or another, that it isn't going to work. But people still believe it. And now we believe that, this newfangled kind we're calling democracies, Western democracies, those work. But, I don't know.
Well, statistically, it's definitely not true.
It used to be people said this was the land of the free. They just don't say it anymore because it's not. And are you as free as you were 6 months ago? Because I don't feel as free as I was 6 months ago. And I don't know who's responsible. I don't know any of that stuff, but I can see the results.
I wonder if I'm going to be saying that 6 months from now.
Yeah. I'm curious. Very curious. I really just want this election over with to see what the results are. But
I get the feeling you will long for times before this election was over, after it is over.
855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE. What do you think? You think that America's glory days of liberty are gone? The number 855-450-FREE, as in Free Talk Live.
Remember when you first heard about Bitcoin? How long did it take you to realize this little project would soon change the world? Do you kind of wish you had gotten involved sooner? Well, now's your chance to be part of the next revolution in money. Intercoin is working to finally make crypto go mainstream. It's designed to be scalable enough to support everyday payments and even elections without the state. Bitcoin was originally supposed to be a peer-to-peer cash system, the way we would all pay one another without having to trust any third party. But instead, over time, it mostly became a store of value. That's because every 10 minutes, the Bitcoin network must put all transactions into a block, and that block can only hold so much. If crypto is to become mainstream, for everyone to use it in everyday payments, we need a new architecture, one that's as secure as Bitcoin while being far more scalable. Check out intercoin.org to find out more, and maybe pick up some of those coins for yourself.
So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com. Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Taking a risk. Fox News, I'm Mary Corsetti. South Dakota, which has seen an uptick in coronavirus infections in recent weeks, is bracing to host hundreds of thousands of bikers for the 80th edition of the Sturgis Motorcycle Rally. More than 250,000 people are expected to attend the August 7th to August 16th rally in western South Dakota, which could make it the biggest gathering anywhere since the coronavirus pandemic started. Meanwhile, lengthy negotiations continue over the next coronavirus relief bill, and the clock is ticking as the $600 a week unemployment benefit expired Friday. On Sunday Morning Futures with Maria Bartiromo, Republican Senator Ron Johnson blasted the Democrats for not accepting a proposal on the Senate floor to extend the $600 benefit by a week.
I think their obstruction, their unwillingness to really work with us in good faith is pretty obvious and speaks volumes. That they're interested in the election issue. They think they've got the upper hand right now, and that they'd rather not do anything and not help people as opposed to have the election issue.
Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin says the offer for the one-week extension was also made during Saturday's meeting, but was rejected by the Democrats. Also new today, the SpaceX Dragon capsule successfully splashes down in the Gulf of Mexico. The capsule, carrying NASA astronauts Bob Behnken and Doug Hurley, returned to Earth today after 2 months aboard the International Space Station. Fox's Phil Keating was there as the capsule was hauled out of the water.
The winds were 2.5 miles an hour for this descent of the capsule, so absolutely perfect weather, and it came down like a bullseye right on the dot about about a mile and a half away from the recovery ship. So it splashed down. They sent out the Go Fast boats. They attached the harnesses and everything to then get it to the recovery boat, and then they just hoisted it up with this big winch. And so now it's on the deck.
And the Crew Dragon capsule is being controlled by SpaceX, Elon Musk's rocket company. America is listening to Fox News.
Fox News Radio on demand on the Fox News app. Download the app and just click listen. When you swipe left, you can listen to your favorite Fox News talk shows live. Swipe right for the latest Fox News Radio newscasts on demand. Fox News Radio on the Fox News app. Download it today.
Well, presidential hopeful Joe Biden is close to choosing a running mate as the Democratic National Convention draws closer. But Trump Communications Director Tim Murtaugh says they aren't worried about who Biden will pick.
I don't think it really matters too much which name actually comes out when Biden makes his pick, because we know, just as has been happening all along here, he's being pushed along by the extreme elements of the Democrat Party. He's an empty vessel that's being filled by the radical left. So whichever name comes up, we'll just continue that trend.
Meanwhile, the president saying Friday that he will be taking action soon to ban the Chinese-owned social media app TikTok due to national security and censorship concerns. TikTok general manager Vanessa Pappas says it's not going anywhere. The Chinese company ByteDance, which owns TikTok, is in talks to sell the U.S. operation to Microsoft, which would then be responsible for protecting U.S. users' data. Senator Chuck Schumer commenting on the issue.
There are some questions that have to be answered. How will the data be stored and secured? Will the Chinese have links into TikTok? So before I would be for such a merger, I'd have to get some answers to these questions.
No response yet from the White House, but Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin did say TikTok cannot continue to exist in the U.S. in its current format. And in sports, Brad Keselowski wins the checkered flag in NASCAR's Foxwoods Resort Casino 301 at New Hampshire Motor Speedway today.
Brad Keselowski. It has been the Brad and Denny show all day. Keselowski has led 183 laps, looking to lead his 184th lap. Through 3 and 4 for the final time, and this will be career win number 33 for Brad Keselowski. He's going to win at New Hampshire Motor Speedway.
The final call, courtesy of NBC Sports, Denny Hamlin came in second place. I'm Mary Corsetti, and this is Fox News.
Listen to be part of the conversation with me, Brian Kilmeade. I'll talk about the biggest stories of the day and get your take along with some of the biggest newsmakers around. Listen live on the Fox News app or get the podcast at briankilmeadshow.com.
Everyone in a bustling Chinese parade is attempting to elude pursuers. Newly discovered cave paintings suggest early man was battling a lot of inner demons, and a xylophonist is shredding it. This Tuesday, FBI officials disclosed details of a disturbing al-Qaeda plot to just kick back, relax, and savor the inevitable collapse of the United States. Intelligence agencies confirmed the massive coordinated plan involves terrorist cells across the globe, training specifically to take a load off and unwind as America's political infighting, class divides, moral indolence, and environmental self-destruction gradually tear the nation apart.
Our righteous warriors will devote our time to relaxing and really soaking in the infidels' self-destruction. America's cities will be reduced to ruins. The economy will come to a standstill. And we, the blessed of Islam, will kick back, put our feet up, and enjoy the show. It's going to be great.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It is Free Talk Live, and you are free to call in and talk live here on the airwaves. That's what we do here on Free Talk Live. That's why we call it Free Talk Live. 7 days a week from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern Time. We are available to you. for you to call in and talk about what you want. We believe in freedom of speech here on Free Talk Live, and we're going to let you talk about what you want to talk about. It's Mark with you.
Peakless Mountaineer.
And Melanie.
And speaking of which, I mentioned it earlier on the show. I think it's worth mentioning again. You can go get archives at archives.freetalklive.com from any show going back for more than 10 years at archives.freetalklive.com. Peakless Mountaineer, there was a story about a gentleman, 73-year-old man, who chose not to wear a mask and was sort of kicked out of a store. You tell me the story.
Yeah, this is from the Free Thought Project, titled "Elderly Man Shot Dead by Police After Refusing to Wear a Mask in Grocery Store." The debate over face masks during COVID-19 pandemic has torn friendships apart, pitted family members against each other, and even led to an innocent bus driver being beaten to death in France by a group of thugs who became angry when he said it was the law that they put their masks on. Now, a 73-year-old man has been killed after an incident sparked from a mask dispute. This time, it was the mask refuser at the end of the violence. According to the police, they were called out to Value Mart in Minden, Ontario, just after 8 a.m. last Wednesday.
Is this Ontario, Canada?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I guess it would have to be, if it's Minden, Ontario, that means it's not, gotcha.
I'm not aware of an Ontario, France yet.
No, not yet, okay. I was just unclear. Like, there's certainly an Ontario municipality in the United States.
Ah.
But it would be like Ontario, Mississippi, or something to that effect.
One would hope. Let's see. Just after 8 a.m. last Wednesday, because an elderly man wanted to shop without wearing his mask. It is unclear at this point whether or not the man had a medical condition that prevented him from wearing a mask. What is clear, however, is that his choice not to wear one would set off a chain of events leading to his untimely death at the hands of police.
Right. So a lot of people are saying that, there seems to be a great deal of skepticism around the claims that I have a medical condition that prevents me from wearing a mask. And people just don't want to hear that right now. Some people don't want to hear that. They just don't want to hear it.
How dare you let your health interfere with our conformity? Quote, "When I got here, everyone was talking about it," Tiana Francis, a worker at the Value Mart in Minden, said. "My coworkers were a little bit shaken up, yes. I guess he got angry and didn't want to. We couldn't really deal with that ourselves because it's really against the rules, so we had to call the police and everything," Francis said. Police say that after the store employees confronted the man for not wearing a mask, he allegedly assaulted one of the employees before driving away. According to police, officers tried to stop the suspect's car, but they refrained, quote, "in the interest of public safety," unquote, before doing a follow-up investigation, Sergeant Foltz said. As CBC Reports, Ontario's Special Investigations Unit said the man drove away and an officer saw the car and started following it for a short while. Based on the license plate, officers said that officers made their way to a home in Indian Point Road, the SUI said. When two police officers arrived at the man's home, an interaction, in quotes, unfolded and the two officers opened fire on the 73-year-old man, according to authorities. The man was shot, and 3 hours after he refused to wear a mask, he was dead.
Yeah. So, right, and it's not like, I mean, this is the foreseeable result of these sorts of mandates, is that, some people are going to be angry about it. You're changing their lifestyle. They don't want their lifestyle changed. They think it's bad for some reason or another, or whatever the case may be. When there's a dispute, cops are often called. Cops' jobs isn't dispute resolution counselor.
They don't avoid incidents.
No, and so
what I found amazing about this is okay, I mean, sure, do some kind of follow-up, I guess, but, this is over. He left.
Yeah, what difference does it make?
I mean, like, send him a summons to court for shoving the guy in the store or whatever he did or allegedly did. I mean, okay, like handle this like civilized people. You don't bring officers to his home and shoot him.
Yeah, and if this happens inside of a store, then there should be evidence that he did that. If that's what actually
he's also
happened.
73. If I was a young
I'm not
man,
gonna call the cops on a 73-year-old guy going
right.
Yeah.
I mean, what happened to he's old. He's old. He's stuck in his ways. Let's give him a little bit of leeway and not send armed thugs after him.
Right. I mean, I guess I worked in a health club for some time in my youth, and I must say that some older folks, put their hands on me, not in any way that it made me angry or anything like that, but they, I remember one lady, she wanted to be called Mrs. something. I don't remember her last name was, whatever the case may be. She wanted to be called Mrs. rather than me calling her by her first name. Now, we had membership cards, so I knew everybody's first name. She said, I'm old enough to be your grandmother. Called me Mrs. whatever. And she, tapped me on my arm in kind of a swatty fashion. I mean, you could call it an assault should you wish to, but I just called her Mrs. after that because that's what she wanted.
Well, I'm sure she broke your arm with that swat.
I mean, some things are battery and some things are just being a bitch, and that's not a battery. Like, I mean,
well, they called it assault, which I think is the most confusing of legal terms.
Well, it means different things in different contexts.
If I spit on you, that's an assault, and that's pre-COVID, by the way.
Yep.
Spitting on somebody is entirely spitting on somebody. You in any trouble that happens to you after was beckoned.
Yeah. Well, I can't say that's happened to me that I can think of.
Like that swat on the arm.
Yes.
Would probably classify as assault.
Probably, I would think it would, at least in some jurisdictions.
Under most, because they're not because think about how you would have to define that. A physical violent action that doesn't cause grave damage, because then it would be a higher form of assault or battery.
And few and far between is the 73-year-old that can cause grievous damage.
That isn't just really petty. Like, you would have to define that really specifically, and you kind of can't. So it's going to be included in a lot of statutes and in a lot of definitions, but it's just it's the paperclip version of physical violence. Like, just
minor.
Walk away. Like,
so I mean, what is the point of this? I mean, okay, look, you don't want the guy shopping there. You confronted him about shopping because those are the rules. Okay, he's gone.
I think the point is that it's the rules are the rules, and we've got to make sure that everybody understands the rules. So they go and they find the guy, and they're going to see if he's going to be cantankerous some more, and if he is going to be cantankerous with the law, and if you are, then, well, we can see what the results are.
Well, how about we don't send the law there to be cantankerous at?
I'm thinking that it was. I hope everybody has walked away from this seeing that ultimately this is an old guy that was killed over not wearing a mask.
And one of the things that just is a slap to the face of this is, the accusation of, oh, you don't wear a mask, you must want to kill grandma. I'm not the one killing grandma.
Right. I mean, in this case, he's grandpa.
And okay, maybe it's possible that there's an argument that I'm somehow harming your grandmother some way, somehow. This is a direct, simple, grandpa just got shot by 2 police officers.
Yeah.
He's dead now.
And it was completely avoidable. It didn't need to happen, and it's sad.
I mean, are we really at the point where these are the rules or die?
855.
That's always been the point.
Yeah, well, that's what any law is, right? And you can call in a comment on it.
And frequently they're not laws.
855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE. News from news.bitcoin.com. Another 83 tons in fake gold found in China. Crypto still much harder to counterfeit. Host Stefan Molyneux banned from YouTube. Receives $100,000 in crypto donations afterward. Reporters uncover $11 trillion in offshore government-sanctioned bank accounts. Bitcoin Cash still potentially private and unconfiscatable. Bitcoin.com is your source for getting started with cryptocurrencies. Getting a wallet, buying Bitcoin Cash, mining, and all the latest cryptocurrency news at news.bitcoin.com.
Bear, the rescue dog, had very flaky skin, dropping a lot of fur, and Levette wanted to do steroid injections. I was at a dead end.
DINOVITE.com.
Probably 6 weeks after we started using Dinovite, no more flaky skin. He doesn't scratch and itch. It was awesome.
You get some Dinovite, how happy your dog will be.
Every rescue dog in America deserves Dinovite for 90 days.
DINOVITE.com.
Got shaving irritation? Shave Secret shaving oil can help stop it. Shave Secret doesn't cost much and is an all-American product. My name is Chuck Howard, and I developed Shave Secret and pioneered its use starting back in 1991. Ingrown hairs drove me nuts for years. Shaving oil changed all that. Why put up with ingrown hairs, bumps, red rash, nicks, and cuts? Shave Secret provides men and women with what we believe is the best shave ever. Our proprietary blend of 100% natural base and essential oils plus a hint of menthol was designed to help eliminate shaving irritations like ingrown hairs, bumps, red rash, nicks, and cuts. We'll lose those shaving irritations. Available at Super Walmart, H-E-B, Wegmans, Giant Eagle, Discount Drug, Navy and Marine Exchanges, Amazon, and ShaveSecret.com. Use the code FTL for Free Talk Live and get a discount. Shave Secret, the best shave ever.
Free Talk Live.
The result from the drug use, you cannot compare to caffeine or cigarettes. That's an immature.
Right. It's the result of the war on drugs. I can't compare.
The illegal use of drugs. Why don't we execute sellers?
Why don't we execute cigarette smokers?
Then we will no longer have to worry about people using drugs.
Well, all right, there are more than 100,000 people convicted of drugs every year. You want to execute all them too?
Okay, wow.
Yeah, look how much money we'd save. $30,000 a year times 100,000. Okay, you know, if we took the Singapore or the Middle East model,
then we'd have a state like Singapore or the Middle East.
President, maybe he can do that.
Because Singapore and the Middle East have no drugs whatsoever in their countries, right?
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM. The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. You can call in and talk about what you want to talk about. It's Mark with you.
Peakless Mountaineer.
And Melanie.
Want to tell you real quick about the AMP program. You go to amp.freetalklive.com, and you can support our mission to bring freedom of speech to the airwaves. That's amp.freetalklive.com, just like Kingston Smith, who is a gold amplifier, just like he's done. So thank you, Kingston. Appreciate your support, and we thank you, too, if you are an amplifier, at amp.freetalklive.com. Let's go to Jennifer calling in from Vegas. Jennifer, you're on Free Talk Live.
Oh, hi, you guys. Hey, so I was in a grocery store today, and I don't like to wear the mask. My husband won't, and he actually went into Lowe's today without a mask because we found out on TV that Lowe's said they won't be enforcing the policy. So sure, they left him alone, which was amazing. First store he has been in over 3 months.
Wow.
So I do the grocery shopping. So I went into Albertsons today, and I'm in the produce section, and I see this old man, and it turns out he's 75 years old, and this libertarian that I follow says, talk to everybody who's not wearing a mask and, salute each other, right? So I say to him, well, you're not wearing a mask. How did you get in this store? Because what I do is I kind of leave it on my chin. So the guy says, I'm not going to do this, right? I don't believe in this stuff. And we started talking over the Apple section, and people are all around us in their masks. And I see them listening to us, and we're talking about, oh, my God, I can't believe they won't let the kids in the schools and all this kind of stuff, and there's been no study and all that. So he goes on about his way, and I'm shopping, and then I see 6 ladies hit up one of the workers in the store, and they said, oh, my God, there's this guy in the store without a mask, and he's telling people about not to wear a mask. And all this kind of stuff, and they get on the speaker, security, and so I run down. The guy's already down by like another meat section, so I run down to the guy and I go, "They're after you, dude. They're coming for you."
It's like a breakout. It's like
he's got a face. Get him.
Yeah, and I feel bad because I kind of talked to him and egged him on, but I mean I didn't. I want to talk to everyone who won't do it.
What happened to him?
Well, so then security shows up, and they start arguing, and he pulls his shirt up, and he says, well, I'm just going to pull my shirt up over my face. And I feel like I should have, stayed there and defended him more, but I'm watching, and he's like, I'm going to pull my shirt up, and, they're arguing. It's the Kroger policy. I don't know if it is. A lot of these stores like Walmart and Lowe's say don't, let people go. We're not going to, in Vegas, it says you even have to wear a mask outside, which I never do. But so eventually they had to give him one of those medical masks and make him wear it. I felt really bad, but the thing that I hated was that all these other people were like, oh my God, he has no mask. Like they were afraid for themselves. They're like, get this guy out of the store. Like he's going to hurt us,
Yeah. It's a strange new world. Thank you for the call, Jennifer. I really appreciate it.
Which, if these masks were so effective, you wouldn't think they'd be reacting like that. If he's a threat, then your mask doesn't work.
Well, I'm not going to say that the masks. If you're sick, the chances are you're not. If you're sick, then I think that it's better. But again, I think that ultimately it comes down to business. If a business wants to have wants everybody to wear a mask, then that's the way it should be. And, they can turn away the business and then somebody else can say, hey, I'll take the business and, we'll figure it out.
Well, that's how it should work. And you can because they weren't mandated at first, at least here, you can kind of tell which businesses actually want them because they weren't requiring them prior to them being mandatory by the state. So if a business after that says, oh, yeah, they're mandatory, here's my sign.
Yeah.
Maybe they don't really mean it.
Well, and I do think that there is a specific exemption from that general rule where, okay, so if a significant portion of your business is actually owned by various levels of government's retirement plans, and they have regular meetings to say, okay, are we going to keep holding on to this stock? And okay, well, if you enforced these mask mandates, then you're more likely to keep your stock level where it is. And if you didn't enforce them, then they're like, well, yeah, let's just go ahead and sell that stock because I like Safeway better than Kroger, or Kroger better than Safeway because one enforced the mask and the other didn't. I mean, you start playing with absolute government control at that point. And you really start stepping outside of private business decision.
Let's go to Dublin, calling in from Four Corners, KENN. Dublin, you're on Free Talk Live.
Hey, how you guys doing?
All's well. What's on your mind?
I've been thinking about this for a long time. I told your screener that the big controversy with the Washington Redskins.
Yep, they're changing their name.
Right, but the Native Americans don't care and the fans do. Well, I've got a really excellent idea.
Okay.
Change the name to the Washington Redskin Potatoes.
Well, there you go. So there are Redskin potatoes.
They'll still be the Redskins.
Yeah.
Take the face of the Indian off. Put Mr. Potato Head, but not the one that they can get sued for.
Go fighting
Make
Spuds.
up their own little potato head, right? And they can be the Washington Redskin Potatoes.
I think that's funny. However, I think the problem isn't the picture. The Washington Redskins picture is a fine picture. It's the name that people have the biggest problem about. So I think they're going to change. I've heard they're going to change their name to the Sentinels, which has something to do with a movie or something like that.
Are they keeping the?
I'd like to
face?
What's that?
Are they keeping the face?
I'd keep personally. If it was me making a decision, I would keep the Native American motif because, hey, fierce warriors and stuff. It's great.
There were plenty of Native American sentinels.
Yeah, I'd call them warriors,
Exactly.
braves, or any of these other terminology, which is less disputable than Redskins. That would be how I would do it. Anyway, I think it's a great joke, though, Dublin. Thank you.
Yeah, I've been thinking about it a long time. I just figured I'd call and let somebody know.
Thank you.
Oh, and I am in the Tri-City Four Corners area, and I'm listening to you on KENN radio from New Mexico, just like that other guy you were talking to.
That's right. We're getting a bunch of KENN calls, and it's awesome.
There you go.
Lots of Native Americans listening in that area, too, Dublin. Thank you for the call. Yeah.
I just want to say about the previous caller, that sounds like a great idea. If you are of the opinion that, having faces is more important than wearing masks, then what a great idea. What an awesome way to start up a conversation. Hey, you've got a face.
I think these masks should have big smiles on them. Maybe that would help our monkey brain deal.
It really, honestly, probably would.
What do you think? 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE here on Free Talk Live.
Ancestry, the global leader in family history and consumer genomics, released results of a survey commissioned to understand how consumers viewed their health risks during the COVID-19 pandemic. According to results, almost half of all Americans and nearly 50% of parents said the COVID-19 pandemic has increased their interest in understanding their possible genetic health risks. Dr. Ron Park, Executive Vice President of Health and DNA at Ancestry.
The COVID-19 pandemic has made clear to many people the importance of taking proactive actions to protect their health and their family's health. The survey shows that this applies to not only concerns specific to COVID-19, but also other health issues such as genetic risks.
Ancestry Health, launched last year to increase access to personalized preventive health care, will soon be powered by next-generation sequencing, an advanced technology that provides a comprehensive analysis of inherited health risks. Visit ancestry.com/health.
The political world is a maddening cesspool of corruption and lies. Nobody tells the truth. Nobody keeps campaign promises. Nobody obeys the Constitution. Nobody puts the people first. How can we ever escape this web of tyranny? Vote for nobody.
Hi, my name is Nobody. I'm running for governor of New Hampshire because nobody knows how to live your life better than you do, and nobody deserves that kind of power. I want to put you back in control of your money, your lifestyle, your work, your body, and your life. Nobody should rule you but you. New Hampshire convicts many people of so-called crimes that should never have been prosecuted. If elected, I will pardon every victimless crime in New Hampshire history. This includes drug, gambling, prostitution, gun, and driving offenses. Nobody should have a criminal record when they have not harmed anybody.
Wouldn't it be nice to have nobody telling you what to do? Learn more at electnobody.com. electnobody.com.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com to receive our usually weekly news updates by email. Plus, we have a Twitter account at twitter.freetalklive.com, and you can follow us on the decentralized Mastodon platform at toot.freetalklive.com. So please follow us at toot.freetalklive.com and sign up for our emails at news.freetalklive.com. Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. Call in, talk about whatever's on your mind. Final segment here on Free Talk Live. Well, it's not the final segment. Excuse me. We actually have 2 more segments, but yeah.
The final live segment.
We can get you in. The number, 855-450-3733. It's Mark with you.
Peakless Mountaineer.
And Melanie.
Let's jump right into the phones. We've got Floyd calling in from, looks like Pennsylvania, listening on TuneIn. Floyd, you're on Free Talk Live.
Yeah, I'll be in Dallas next weekend packing and unpacking. Mark should be Dashington.
Are you threatening me?
Tonight?
Are you saying that you're
I'm
going to
not threatening
shoot
your family at all. You're going to, no, I wouldn't shoot anybody. I'm not a murderer like you.
What are you packing?
You got qualified immunity. You got out of prison easy. How's your victim doing, bud?
Yeah, what a nice guy. The number, 855-450-3733. You waited all that time for that.
I just always feel so uplifted.
Yes, well.
My life is made infinitely better.
Yep, there you go. Let's go to David calling in from New Mexico. David, you're on Free Talk Live.
That's David the Great.
That's David the Great.
Yes, listening on KENN.
You guys have had a bunch of calls tonight. KENN is representing.
Yeah, I'm gonna take credit for that. Doing all that free promo. Listen on KENN. All those years just perked up all around FC USA, and they too thought they could call in, and they did. So.
Yeah, and it's great. So what's on your mind, David?
Failure to rule. Unlike me, not me, I don't fail to rule, but others have failed to rule. And the person sitting across from you knows what I'm talking about, don't you, Melanie?
You're going to have to tell me what you're talking about.
Before I forget, Dedgington, one of these days I'm going to shoot you.
Okay.
Out of a cannon.
Out of a cannon. I would never, ever do that willingly.
You're not. Yeah, I was going to say you're not going to have a choice.
Part of a skydiving expedition.
Right. I have no interest in that. I went on a. What do they call those? Those like cables that you slide down on pulleys and
zip
stuff.
Lines,
zip line. I went down a zip line in Acapulco, Mexico. I was praying to gods that I haven't believed in decades. It was terrifying.
Hey, it worked.
Yeah, not for me.
Oh,
yeah,
you know, we should also mention, we can do a little social experiment. Sometimes when I'm not listening on KENN, I'm listening on KINN on Saturdays out of Alamogordo, New Mexico. Let's see what we can do there.
Hold on.
Alamogordo.
Is there another radio station called KINN?
Yes, KENN has kin. KINN in Alamogordo.
Okay. Is it so they're related in some way? It's co-owned stations.
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't. Well, everybody in New Mexico is related. So that's not even a joke.
What's the failure to rule, David?
Okay, so you were talking earlier in your program. You were discussing a failure to rule when a caller had said that judges were intentionally not ruling on the outcome of a case, meaning the dispository ruling. They were failing to dispose of the case, which Melanie said correctly, that they're not really going to get away with failing to rule on the dispository order in the case, the final order deciding one way or the other. But what they do get away with, and actually Melanie can answer this to whatever degree she cares to. I had a judge fail. I submitted motion when I was acting pro se in my children's case. I submitted a motion to change a therapist from one that was hostile to one that was neutral. And the judge just completely ignored the motion like I had never filed on it, failed to rule on the motion. Do judges have the discretion to fail? Oh, and by the way, public record, this was Judge Angela Jewell. Did I say Angela Jewell? In Albuquerque, New Mexico, in the 2nd Judicial District Family Division. Anyway, so when Judge Angela Jewell in Albuquerque failed to rule on my motion in Coyne versus Olson, Coyne, was that lawful, or did she not have the discretion, Angela Jewell, to fail to rule on my motion?
The most likely scenario to me seems to be that you were not up on procedural details, because why would you be as a regular human being? And that therefore it wasn't a proper motion, and then she could ignore it. But yeah, they can't just not rule on issues.
Yeah, last I knew, and I'm far from an expert, but last I knew, if you make a motion, they have to do something with it.
Yeah, they either grant it, deny it, or something.
I move that you hop up and down.
The baby, something.
Denied.
Yeah.
Denied, and stop that or else.
I mean, yeah, you might get sanctioned for that, actually, but yeah.
Yeah, and this is visible right in I was trying to look it up as we were speaking, but you're too fast. But anyway, in the case, look up nmcourts.gov, my name, Olson David. You can find Judge Jewell in these cases, and you can actually see the motion, and you can see that there is no disposition to that motion, no order. There's a motion in there.
Public? In New Mexico?
Yes, in certain issues, not in all. This was not a sequestered case at that stage. Later in that case, it became sequestered, but at that stage, it was not sequestered.
I thought that was part of why they made a special court for this.
Pardon?
I thought that was why part of why they made a special court for family court was so that they didn't have the same rules with sort of blabbing your business to everybody.
Yeah, that is part of it. But at this stage, my motions were visible. I got to check again and make sure they're still visible, but they were all visible at that stage in this custody case. And so I apparently in New Mexico, they have to designate a case whether it's sequestered or not. They don't automatically sequester everything that's a family matter, but I can double check on that. It would be good to know.
I guess the answer is that they can do whatever they want because they have the power and we don't. But you did have in your case, like you managed to scald some of these judges pretty badly afterwards, but it didn't seem to do you any good as far as results, right?
No, the bottom line, as in direct results, I haven't gotten my children back, but in indirect results, if you say on this radio, David in New Mexico, every idiot in government that's hearing you in New Mexico right now knows exactly who I am. So,
I mean, I will say, that is one of the best forms of revenge. If you have access to a live radio show and you can just talk ass about your enemies publicly by name, that is one of the greatest perks. I mean, I'm here for the anarchy, but that is one of the greatest perks.
Well, it's
right. We can do it in reverse, too, since we're being heard on KENN in Farmington, New Mexico. Hey, Rod Montoya, how you doing, man? Long time no talk. Hit me up. He's one of your government people. Hey, Rod.
No shout-outs to Rod or anyone else.
He's an elected official, so we're doing elected or official business here.
I got you.
Trying to get your government to do something. He's actually one of the good guys. He's not one of the bad guys.
So I think that when it comes to the courts, it can be very difficult for people to navigate that morass. And it looks like over time, David, you've managed to figure out how to, get through it all, considering you have a case now for calling a radio station.
Right. Well, you know what? That actually may be a retaliation. The case against me being brought by the University of New Mexico Police Department through and by Raul Torres, District Attorney, and his wife, Nasha Torres, Dean of Students at the University of New Mexico. No nepotism in New Mexico, by the way. That is probably a retaliation for doing what I'm doing right now, which is exposing stuff. It's probably a retaliation case. At least that's what I'm going to allege in federal court, Raul Torres and Nasha Torres.
Well, don't give up your plan of attack. Thanks for the call, David. Appreciate it. Yeah. So I don't know. Check it out. He sources all of his stuff. So there you go. Free Talk Live.
And I got to say, going pro se is very brave.
Yep. Check out the archives at archives.freetalklive.com.
Are you afraid to go to the mailbox because of letter after letter from the IRS? Are they stacking on more and more penalties and interest? By now, you know the problem won't go away on its own. Don't let the IRS chase you to your grave with penalties and interest and liens and levies. You need real help now. I'm Dan Pilla. I wrote the book on tax debt settlement, and I help thousands of people solve tax problems they thought couldn't be solved. I can help you too. Call 800-34-NO-TAX or go to my website, danpilla.com. That's danpilla.com. danpilla.com.
When you have a pain in the neck, a real pain in the neck, back, shoulder, or legs, you now have two convenient choices to get fast relief without taking another pill. Because now, Sunny Bay heating wraps and pillows are available at both Amazon and Walmart. Yes, see Sunny Bay's 4.5 to 5-star customer reviews on Amazon.com or Walmart.com. Our made in the USA microwavable heat wraps, heatable neck pillows, and extra large body wraps are designed better for perfect support where and when you need it. Even while driving, Sunny Bay wraps will not burn and stay balanced to provide soothing hot or cold therapy to help treat temporary or chronic pain. And the best part? Sunny Bay quality products start at under $20. Join thousands of happy customers and see why Sunny Bay products have a lifetime 100% positive rating on both Amazon and Etsy. It's easy. Click Amazon or Walmart and search today for Sunny Bay.
Have you ever thought about turning your Glock, XD Family, or 1911 handgun into a semi-automatic carbine? It only takes about 30 seconds. The MacTech Carbine Upper is classified as an accessory and can be delivered right to your doorstep with no FFL or background check required. It's the world's most versatile pistol accessory. Build your custom upper today. Simply go to handgunconversion.com. That's handgunconversion.com.
Hi, I'm Derek J. To me, an activist's calling is to actively work to advance a cause. The cause for which I work is personal freedom. I believe my life is best when I engage in voluntary interactions and self-government. I reject the idea that anyone else has a higher claim to my life or my body than I do. I see people who call themselves the government as a threat to my personal freedom. I realize you may feel differently, but my relationship with the people who call themselves the government is completely involuntary. If Starbucks used some of its money to drop bombs, I wouldn't shop there. So why would I support the American empire? The Empire does not require my consent.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. That's victimlesscrimespree.com. LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm. Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
Live. Call in, talk about whatever is on your mind. It's Mark with you.
Peakless Mountaineer.
And Melanie.
855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE here on Free Talk Live. And you can call in and talk about whatever is on your mind, because that's what we do. And this is the final segment. And the funny story we've got here, I like to wrap up with a funny one if I can. Apparently, it's difficult for laundromats to find change. Like coins.
You would think if anyone had like a real leg up on getting change,
it would be the laundromats, yes. So here it is from Bloomberg, Quint.com. Every morning, Charles Bocus drives to 6 Chase banks in the San Diego area in search of quarters. The most he ever drove to was 8, but one branch was closed that day and 2 others didn't have change. Bocus, the 55-year-old owner of the Coin Hut laundromat, is in a bind. He's running low on quarters because residents of apartment complexes are making change and not using his machines. The whole trip takes about 2 hours, and the total amount of quarters he can get is worth $120 because his banks limit how many coins they give out. So he's been seeking alternative sources. Gray market quarters, as it were.
Alternative source. This seems unnecessarily shady.
You'd think that, banks...
I have been racking my brain to figure out what this is about. I have come up with a few theories that might be true, and I don't know if any of them are.
They don't have to ban cash if they just quit giving it to you.
Well, no, but then you've still got dollars, and we just quit using change
you're not gonna
because,
do it all at once.
Well, and I mean, prices being what they are, and especially what they're about to be, once this complete economic collapse hits, and the prices actually start adjusting to the massive amounts of money that have been given to both people and especially special corporations. I mean, prices are going to skyrocket. A dollar is going to be like a penny. Maybe not that bad, but it's going to be. So
the penny is basically useless. I don't understand why it even exists at this point.
I'm against it.
Yeah,
it was useful. I mean, are they?
If we just got rid of pennies and just rounded to the nearest nickel, you'd be fine, ladies and gentlemen. You'd be fine.
But I mean, these banks. I mean, are they hoarding our copper, our nickel? My wildest theory so far is that since you can't find zinc anywhere, and zinc is a really effective way of getting viruses to not bond to your cells, maybe that's the problem. We just need to get rid of all the zinc because you might be making homebrew zinc supplements. But this is just weird.
It is strange, and, let's go on. Under the couch cushions, Maybe not that far, but close. Our biggest success has been friends and family so far. The banks are just a daily grind that I do, he says. On top of a showdown on foot traffic, laundromat owners such as Bookus are struggling because the coronavirus seems to have stopped up the flow of coins through the economy. People made fewer store trips and many businesses stayed closed with old change sitting in their tills. Even big retailers have felt the pinch, with many putting out signs at registers, and I've seen them, encouraging customers to use exact change or pay with plastic. Some have called it a national coin shortage, but as of April, the U.S. Treasury estimated that about $47.8 billion worth of coins were in circulation, compared with $47.4 billion last year. So that says more. I don't know.
So we have more coins. They're still out there.
There's
still
a few
moving
things
around.
first off, this guy could solve his problems with tokens, right? Like, people are coming and getting, he's doing a lot of work.
I do, but almost nobody brings the quarters to the place. They trade their dollars in for it.
I had an issue when I was in undergrad still. I brought a roll of quarters with me, and then when I showed up, I couldn't use them because they had card readers, and so I had to pay with like a roll of quarters to add
money to a card.
And I don't know, but I can't imagine it's terribly expensive to change your change acceptor to a token acceptor.
Right. That's what I'm thinking is that, first off, one of his biggest problems is he's running around doing all this work for people who are coming to get change so they can go back to their apartment complexes and wash clothes in their apartments, machines, because their apartment complex isn't offering the service of a change-making machine. Because who would do that? If you put a change-making machine in some hidden place, then somebody's going to go in there at 3 o'clock in the morning, pry it off the wall, and have some free money. Not much, but some. And so that's one of his difficulties. He could very easily switch the change maker to a token vending situation and run his machines off of tokens. I say very easily, not very easily. He could do it, and that would solve his daily grind, as he calls it, of running around. Now, that doesn't address the issue of a coin shortage in America, which is interesting to me, and I wonder, where have they gone? Is it just because they're sitting in tills and closed up shops?
Well, they're sitting in banks, and not necessarily branches, but they're sitting in banks.
What do you mean? Well, what's happening here?
They've been pushing to ban cash for a very long time.
Why would they start with quarters? They would start with $100 bills.
Oh, no.
Because
heavens, no.
You're going to notice that would be a lot. That would be a lot less plausible. You can't sit there and say, oh, there's a bunch of $100 bills sitting in the closed Macy's because they haven't opened yet from the lockdown. Nobody would believe that, but they're willing to believe, because they're not thinking about it too hard, that there's a bunch of dimes and quarters sitting in what is even still closed right now that would be doing that. I guess
movie theaters.
Where you are.
I mean, if you took away $100 bills, you would make an enemy with very little to lose of everyone who is at the very top of every black market.
Well, that's true.
They need those.
Yes, they do. But I would think that those are the sorts of enemies that they would want to make.
No,
that's not how this works.
No, for one thing, our government's been in bed with the Italian mafia ever since late World War II, because they were using that as a method of getting rid of the power of Mussolini, which you do by having a contrary local government, which most people were actually quite used to listening to their local mafia don instead of the federal government in Italy.
Well, I'll take your word on that one, but so the idea here is, the premise is that they're stopping up quarters and change just to make using cash more onerous, so people switch.
Well, not so that people switch. I expect them to gradually move up the chain of denominations. If you don't have cash, you can't have a run on the banks. And if you can't have a run on the banks, then you can implement negative interest rates, which Jerome Powell said last month or so that he was looking at doing, which means he's already decided to do it and hasn't decided to announce it yet.
Yeah, if this is about moving cashless, then you will see a shortage of ones happen next. If this is about the metal, you will not.
Right. I mean, the ones should have been switched to coins long ago, and they should have stopped the option of paper ones. Like, simply stop them. And that would have solved the problem.
Vending machines. Like there's too many of them that rely on paper ones to get your chips.
Well, I mean, you can have coin ones, and they accept those.
Well, eventually.
Yeah.
And then they discontinued the coins.
Well, they changed the $1 coin too many times. They have too many versions of the $1 coin for absolutely no reason for the machines to be able to effectively.
That's kind of interesting. So the Sacagawea coin was issued by the U.S. Mint. However, the presidential $1 coin was issued by the Federal Reserve. Really? So it's different organizations actually that were doing it. Not that functionally matters to the average American, but this is sort of one of the interesting aspects. Is the United States Mint could, if it wanted to get rid of the United States debt, which is by and large held by the Federal Reserve, simply mint, what's the debt now? 27 trillion dollar coins.
I think that would get you dead.
It may very well get you dead, but it could be done. Whomever minted those coins could.
And then you would also have to have that much worth. It wouldn't be 27 trillion in metal because the metal isn't necessarily worth the face value,
Nope.
but you would have to have that amount of metal.
And that's a lot of metal.
No, the U.S. Mint doesn't have metals to back the coins.
No.
To build the coins out
copper
of.
or whatever it is.
Right.
Mostly copper, some nickel is most.
The U.S.
coins.
Mint has lots of metal. I mean, they could carve it out of tin if they had to, but they certainly have plenty of metal. They're making quarters out of something.
Yeah, copper with a little bit of nickel. Yeah. I think the pennies have some zinc in them.
Yep, they certainly do. That's it. Check us out at archives.freetalklive.com to get shows going back for, well, more than a decade there. Completely for free, it's archives.freetalklive.com.
Remember when you first heard about Bitcoin? How long did it take you to realize this little project would soon change the world? Do you kind of wish you had got involved sooner? Well, now is your chance to be a part of the next revolution in money. Intercoin is working to finally make crypto go mainstream. It's designed to be scalable enough to support everyday payments and even elections without the state. Bitcoin was originally supposed to be a peer-to-peer cash system, the way we would all pay one another without having to trust any third party. But instead, over time, it mostly became a store of value. That's because every 10 minutes, the Bitcoin network must put all transactions into a block, and that block can only hold so much. If crypto is to become mainstream for people to use it for everyday payments, we need a new architecture, one that is as secure as Bitcoin while being far more scalable. Check out intercoin.org to find out more and maybe pick up some of those coins for yourself.
Do you want more businesses accepting Bitcoin Cash and Dash? Now with AnyPay, you earn passive income for every purchase at those businesses. Finally, a financial incentive to spread Bitcoin Cash and Dash. You made it happen, so you receive the rewards. Download the AnyPay Cash Register app and add your cryptocurrency wallet addresses. Then install it at a real-life business and tell us what you did at anypayinc.com. anypayinc.com.
The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
Regaining balance. Fox News, I'm Mary Corsetti. 2 NASA astronauts returned to Earth today, splashing down in the Gulf of Mexico. The first splashdown by U.S. astronauts in 45 years. After 2 months in space, Steve Stitch, deputy manager of NASA's Commercial Crew Program, says it shouldn't take long for the astronauts to become reacclimated with movement on Earth.
Bob and Doug were in space for a couple of months, and so they'll come back here and they'll start doing some special training. So sometimes within a matter of a few days or weeks, they're kind of back to normal. normal. And they'll start doing some special exercises to get them readapted to Earth's gravity.
The capsule parachuted into the Gulf about 40 miles off the coast of Pensacola, hundreds of miles from where Tropical Storm Isaias is pounding Florida's Atlantic coast. Plus, $3 trillion has been spent on coronavirus relief thus far. And Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer says aid packages like the one they're working on now cost a tremendous amount of money, but added there is no choice.
We can underfund what's needed, and it will cost us more in the long run because COVID will still stay with us. And as long as COVID stays with us, the economy will not recover. Or we can spend the adequate, robust dollars now and end this crisis.
Also new tonight, FBI Director Christopher Wray briefed members of Congress on potential Chinese influence on the U.S. presidential election. U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo talks about it on Sunday Morning Futures with Maria Bartiromo.
The Chinese Communist Party, and you saw this with our